And for the final time this week, before the team heads on the road for a couple days, welcome into historic Bosse Field here in the heart of Evansville, Indiana. Tell you what, we were happy a couple nights ago. We were really happy last night. The first place, Evansville Otters are looking to sweep the Gateway Grizzlies this afternoon in Game 3 of this series. We've seen just about everything in the opening two games, Bill. We've got to see starting pitching from kids making their professional debut and a bullpen arm. Both pitch very well for Evansville, going against two really strong pitchers for Gateway. The bats backed it up. Man, we've seen just about everything, and it's been a fun weekend of baseball.
Well, I'll agree with you on that, Matthew, because, again, we've seen outstanding pitching, good defense, but mostly important, an explosive offensive team. And they've been down so many times, and they keep coming back. And it has been an exciting week. And I believe this is the first time the Otters have been in first place.
Yes, it is. They were a half game out right before the Canadian road trip, but this time there's no denying it. They're tied with Washington in the first place spot right now.
Okay, now clarify something for me, for our fans. Last year, to make the playoffs, it was just the number one teams. Is that right? And because the Otters ended up second place.
With it being this year, there's the two separate divisions, and the top three teams in each division make it.
Okay, so it's 1, 2, and 3 teams.
Yes, and if you're team 2 or 3, it's a one-game playoff to see who faces the 1 seed.
Okay.
So just because you make it, you're promised one game. That's it.
Okay, so right now, Washington, the Otters, and the other team below them.
Yeah, which is right now Schaumburg are the three.
They're all in the playoffs, right?
Now.
If the playoffs were tomorrow.
If it was, yes, right now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And those two, Washington and Schaumburg, play one more time today.
Oh.
So it's a game that means a lot in the grand scheme of things as well.
Well, I tell you, I'm that's why I'm here. I'm here to throw the bull. You're here to give statistics.
Well, I'll give you a couple more. Here's how last night went. Gateway got on top of Jacob Bowles really quickly in the game, putting 3 runs up in the first inning. It came after a wonderful play from Gary Mattis, secured the first out of the game. Then a double, single, sac fly RBI, and 2-run home run went back to back to back to back. And just like that, suddenly, where we thought there was going to be a double play, instead that ended the inning, there was 3 runs on the board for Gateway, and it kind of had you feeling, oh no, not this again.
I know. The night before it was the same thing. They got 2 runs at first on an error. So in both games, they had to come back to take the lead.
Well, my favorite thing about this Otters team is when trailing after the first inning, they're 6-2. They've won 6 of the 8 games they've trailed after 1 inning. And it's because they've allowed the starting pitching has allowed early runs, but then the offense always surges back and helps out a little bit later.
Yeah, well, okay. Like I said, you come up with the statistics, and that's important to some people. And I know, like I said, people out there, they're interested. I'm not a statistic man. I'm being honest. I cited many a dugout, and what I know is what I observed. I don't need someone to tell me, well, he hits the curveball. Hey, I already know that in my mind. But for someone listening, you describe it, which is important.
Well, and all it really tells you is that the starting pitching, when they struggle early, always finds a way to bounce back and have really solid innings to close out their starts. Of course, then the Otters were able to score 2 runs in the second inning, 1 more in the third to tie the game at 3. We stayed at 3-3 for a while, and it kind of felt like that could last into the very last inning. But in the 6th, a broken play that the kind of was helped by an error that ended up being ruled a hit for the Otters, gave the 2-out approach for Zach Bierman to hit a 3-run home run over to the Corona patio deck, extending his lead on the team in home runs, moving him to 3rd in the league in home runs, and more importantly, reinstating that he is the man for the job when it comes to the clutch hitter on this team.
Well, for those who didn't hear the game last night or watch it, you predicted that. I mean, you said, here comes the best hitter on the team. We needed runs. And I don't know how you did it, but you did predict a home run. And he did. So, like I said last night, you were 3 for 3. I was 1 for 6. So I hope your magic ball is predicting a win today.
Well, the Otters did go on to win the game 6-3. Because of that, they won the series. It's 4 straight series win for them. All 4 of those are divisional opponents. Those are the ones that really matter.
Yeah.
You'll take 2 out of 3 every series if you can get it.
Yeah, well, again, I'm going to repeat myself. Man for man, the Otters will go against any team in this league. And in fact, like we said, we've got several all-stars. Now, we may think they're all-stars, but the other teams have to vote them in. And I'm quite sure, and you'll probably agree with me, this Gateway is going to vote Elijah in as the all-star because he is the biggest menace for them at all.
Yeah, I think they've got to see now both sides of him. They saw the defensive side extremely last weekend at Gateway.
Right.
Now this weekend they're seeing the offensive side.
Right.
I mean, he's found a way to contribute to a lot of different parts of the game. And before we've known it now, he's already up over the 300 batting average level, all the way to 329, the second best on the team, out of nowhere.
Oh, I didn't know that. But I know the Gateway broadcaster, when I was watching the game, and all he kept saying is, that guy in right field has robbed us of 7 runs. Yeah, he took a home run away. He took some diving catches. I mean, if he said he took 7 runs away, if he said that 12 times, I'll agree with him. I thought it was 15.
It's one thing to say, I'm an outfielder and I took away 1 run tonight.
Right.
But to take 7 away in one night is something else.
And you have said it, and I agree with you. He's the best right fielder in this league, defensively.
Certainly, of the ones I've got to see, none of them can move as efficiently, not as quickly, as efficiently out there in right field. Always making sure he's in stride with the ball, which I think is what you mentioned at the very beginning of the year.
Right. He glides after the ball. He doesn't rush after it. He glides after it, which is a signal to a baseball person. Hey, this guy knows where the ball is. There's no need to hurry. He just glides into position to field it.
Well, he played in his 150th career game last night, and I'm sure he has at least 150 more in him. A very talented player out there in right field. The Otters are lucky to have him.
Right.
Just one of the many pieces who has come together in these last few games to help the Otters to where they're at. We will kind of walk you through the standings here real quick, taking a look at the Steel Court Frontier League standings. Evansville and Washington tied for first place in the West Division. Right behind them is Schaumburg at a game and a half back. Joliet, out of nowhere, has won 6 straight games. They're also a game and a half back. At 2.5 back is Windy City. 3 back is Gateway. 6 back is Lake Erie. 7.5 for Florence. On the east side, it's still Quebec who is running everything. Ottawa's still 2.5 games back. Then it's a huge gap down to Tri-City, who is 8 games back. And then Sussex County and New York, who have traded place back and forth for the last 3 or 4 nights. Trois-Rivières, New Jersey, and Empire State round out the East Division over there. Really, it looks like on that East Division, unless, of course, there's lots of time left, looks like it could be a battle for that 3rd place spot right now.
Yeah, right. And, every game counts. Today's game counts just as much as, say, August the 20th and the 21st and 22nd. That's when everyone gets excited. So, we got to win. Yeah, but you should have won back in June and July as well.
Exactly. You don't want to be in that situation going, we really need a couple extra wins right now. Get it done right now.
How many times have you experienced, I know, sitting in the Major League ball field, and you're looking up at the scoreboard. Major Leagues, they have the scoreboard constantly running, and someone is saying, I hope someone loses, because if they lose, that means we could win.
Yeah.
You're relying on someone else to give you
don't want to be sitting there going,
opportunity.
we need that to happen for us to.
Exactly.
We want to be in control of our own destiny.
Exactly. That's the point. That's why you're there and I'm here. You explain it much better.
Well, we are ready to sing the national anthem here from historic Bosse Field. And right after that, we've got first pitch coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Game 3 between Gateway and Evansville coming at you next, right after this. Anthem's been sung and we're ready to play baseball on a Sunday evening here from historic Bosse Field. I want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Working Distributors Evansville. Pleased to have them in attendance on Friday night. And with that, let's introduce you to the man on the mound for the Otters, completing the weekend sweep now. Friday night, Saturday night, and now Sunday evening. All three Otters starters this weekend, former Screaming Eagles at the University of Southern Indiana. This time it's Austin Gossman who enters the game, making his 5th start this year. It's been a little bit since we last saw Gossman. You have to go back to last week's series against Gateway. He earned a win, allowing 2 runs on 3 hits in 7 innings of work.
You know, if I may interrupt you, you're proud of your USI, and you should be. And I say, let's give credit to the Otters to giving these young men that played local at the University of Indiana. The Otters are giving them an opportunity they didn't have otherwise. So, congratulations, Mr. Bussing, and the rest of the Otter franchise for allowing these young men an opportunity they wouldn't get otherwise.
Quick look at the Gateway lineup. 3 lefties and a switch hitter, all very evenly distributed throughout the starting 9. And yeah, I want to go back to that for a second. I think it shows even more about Max Peterson and Annie McCauley using the local talents and recognizing the talent that is in this area. There's a lot of talk about the high school class right now, the senior class of the local high schools, about the amount of talent in that pool right now that could be coming up through the potentially colleges in town and potentially even here on the Otters. Of course, that's a few years away, but it's nice to see them recognize the area has talent. Let's use it.
Well, wasn't it the other night Price that did an excellent job but didn't get credit, his first opportunity, but he was from Rockport. That's just up the road a little. In fact, Abe Lincoln stayed overnight there.
Well, and it's got to be cool for them. This is the professional team that was 20 minutes away from them their whole youth career, and now here they are getting to make a Friday night start.
Yeah.
That's got to be a unique experience.
Well, let's have a good day today, partner.
We'll try. Wearing their navy blue tops, white trim on some blue lettering and blue letters.
Looks like the old Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, the Gateway Grizzlies, blue on top, navy on bottom. As for the Otters, white on top, white on bottom, blue script Otters on the front, and blue letters or numbers on the back. First pitch, high and inside, called strike 1 against Andrew Penner, who has been the leadoff man all 3 nights.
I wonder if Andy's got blue blood like Tommy Lasorda.
0-1. Gossman tries to go to the exact same place. This one works just a tad bit further inside. Gossman pitching out of the stretch. The 1-1. Hefty swing by Penner on the off speed that broke away. Just barely caught the outside corner.
That is, for a right-hand pitcher, that is the best pitch he could throw, or no matter who's pitching. I mean, low outside, the batter generally is reaching.
1-2 the count for Austin Gossman. And it's chopped foul for a second there. You know, Gossman was 1 out shy of getting himself a quality start at Trois-Rivières. Then, with 2 outs in that 6th inning, had a lot of things go wrong, gave up a bunch of runs, ended up taking the loss in that game. But outside of that, his other 3 have been really good starts. 2 runs in each of the 3 and less than 5 hits in all 3 of them, going at least 6 or 7 innings. He's worked efficiently into games.
Well, he was a quality pitcher last year on this team, and he's from Avon, Indiana, which is a suburb of Indianapolis, and his wife and my son taught together at Brownsburg. So it's interesting. I don't know the young man, but my son knows his mother.
The 2-2 to Penner. Again, he chops one foul. This one's off his leg, and he hits the dirt for a second.
Now, I'm going to bring something to your attention, Matt, too. Look at that umpire. It looks like he's got a miner's helmet. It's not a batter's helmet because of the peak is shortened, but it looks like a miner's helmet. All you have to do is put a flashlight up there, and I don't think he got hurt that bad, did he?
Well, not exactly sure, but the athletic trainer Jeff Monzo makes the walk out there for Gateway. And, I'm going to take this opportunity to give a little bit more on Austin Gossman up there on the mound. The thing that really stuck out to me last week is throughout his entire 7 innings against Gateway, only 3 outs were fly balls.
Really?
And 2 of them were shallow fly balls.
See,
everything was on the ground or strikeouts for him.
That's why you get the big money, because you know everything.
Well, and throughout his 4 starts this year, 55% of the outs he's getting are on the ground.
Well, that's because the ball is sinking.
And he's counted on his infield to help him out, and they've done a great job in the starts he's had. Pinner ready to go. Here comes the 2-2. This one's lifted out towards shallow center. Gordon will make the run in for out number 1. Well, there goes his doesn't give up many fly balls thing, I guess I said, but it was a weakly hit fly ball.
Well, because it was a hanging curveball. So anything that's hanging is going to be a fly ball because they're getting under it. Anything that's low, the bat is getting on top of the ball, and that's why it's down for a grounder. That's logic 101.
Austin Gossman got his very first professional win against Gateway last year.
Well, I remember he did well last year. I don't remember which games, but I do remember overall we were lucky to have him.
1-0 the count to Isaac Bernard. Gossman sends it home. This one works inside, and it's 2-0 now the count. And, he started the year really well. His first 2 decisions were both wins. Not bad to start your professional career that way. But then the remaining 7 decisions he got for the rest of the year were all losses. So that win a week ago against Gateway was his first win since June 19th of last year.
Really?
He pitched really well in games last year, but was not helped out by his offense, and that's what led to a lot of those losses.
We had a pitcher here years and years ago, going back to 2006. He was a graduate of Seton Hall University. He lived up in Syracuse, New York. And if you were to talk about a tough pitcher, tough luck pitcher, he was that. He'd be winning, I'm going to say, let's say 4-2, and they take him out in the 6th inning. Somehow the other team he'd end up not getting the win or the loss, but he'd leave winning.
That was the way a lot of Gossman's starts were last year as well. Gets a strikeout on another breaking ball near the dirt, and Isaac Bernard will head to the dugout on a German American Bank strikeout.
It's a depressing to say, hey, I left the game 4-2. Why isn't that bullpen protecting me?
Well, I think that's the really special thing this year.
Yeah.
Is that the bullpen for the Otters here has been really solid. It almost always feels like you can rely on those guys out there.
When I was scouting in the major leagues, Cleveland Indians had a Latin ball player. I don't remember his name. There's so many ball players. But anyway, he'd come in, bases loaded. I mean, he'd throw pitches 100 miles an hour. He would just uncork that ball. So if he gave up a base hit, so what? It didn't matter to him because the men on base were someone else's runs. So they weren't charged to him. But he'd come back and say the 9th inning with the bases empty. Oh, then he was a different pitcher. Then he started aiming because anyone scoring then would affect him. There's the 3rd out.
Achenbaugh with a rocket towards Armstrong, and he'll throw it to first in time for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down. Exactly the way Austin Gossman wants to start. And we head to the bottom half of the 1st inning with a surprise in the Otters lineup. We'll talk more about it right after this. Ready
Pretty
for the
good
bottom
curveball.
half of the first inning. And before anything else, let's introduce you to the starting pitcher for the Gateway Grizzlies. It's a man that the Otters saw 1 week ago today in the form of Brendan Feldman. Feldman has some good stuff with him. Got to keep an eye on him, as he can not only work the fastball very accurately, but his off speed can hurt you as well. He enters the game 2-2 officially this year with a 3.19 ERA in his 5 starts thus far. He's got 34 strikeouts. That's near the top of the league. And a lot of that is because he has you chasing stuff out of the zone.
Well, he's just exhibited a pretty good curveball and a slider. So, fastball, slider, curve, and you said he throws off speed a lot. So, that gives him 4 pitches.
Here's the interesting starting lineup for the Otters. Miles Gordon in the top spot tonight, that Edward Jones leadoff hitter spot. Then, of course, Bierman follows. Baez hops back up to the 3rd spot. Phillips, McNamee, Davis across the middle. Furthest down, we've seen Davis in some time. Sinsley, Felix, Armstrong rounds it out. A little different look on the starting 9 tonight.
Yes, a little different from last night. You don't have that best hitter in the league playing first base today. You got him DHing. Zach Bierman.
Well, Miles Gordon starts with a swinging strike 1. Bierman might be the most clutch hitter in the last 9 or 10 games, but Miles Gordon is the most consistent hitter in the last 9 or 10 games. All but one of those games, he's found a way to get a hit and help the team out. A lot of the time, they're not big RBI hits, so they probably don't get seen as much, but he has really worked things around. In the last 10 games, he went from a 120-something average now to a 303 here around this time. He has really worked on their things the right way. 0-2 to Miles Gordon. Able to foul something off the left side. The biggest difference here is it's not Gary Mattis leading off. In fact, Gary Mattis not found in the starting lineup today. He's on the bench. That's the league leader in stolen bases, so that part of your game is taken a little bit away now that you don't have Mattis in that leadoff spot.
Well, that's true.
Because it was almost a guarantee. If he got on first in the first inning, he was stealing. 0-2 to Gordon, and he pushes one to the right side, but it's played by the first baseman Freeman for out number 1. Pretty simple on the ground for Gordon.
Yeah, 2 or 3 high hop. Easy play for the first baseman. Now, here's the man we're talking about that, to me, is the man of the hour. I'm being honest in saying that this past 2 weeks, now you may go back further, but I'll say in the last 2 weeks, there's no one I want to bat than this guy here.
First pitch to Bierman, and he lets it go by for a called strike 1. And, of course, you're right, stats are stats, and they have to be taken with a grain of salt. But Bierman leads the team with 5 game-winning RBIs.
Wow.
And that's not a mistake. That's the big-time player making big-time plays when he needs to.
Well, when they say, when it comes time to choke up, the good ball players don't. They execute.
1-1 for Zach Bierman. He coils up on a swing and just misses it.
Let's see. I was going to say, is that 70?
79.
79. Well, I thought it was lower because that was a good off-speed pitch. He was way out front.
1-2 on the way for Bierman. Lifts this one high but shallow into right field. In fact, it's the second baseman, Achenbaugh, who thinks he's underneath it. And he is for out number 2. But you can see why Feldman's a guy who picks up a lot of strikeouts, because he's got that much difference in pitch speed and he can hit it accurately.
Well, he pitched well to Bierman. I'll say that. I was surprised he didn't come back with the off-speed pitch. But again, it's not the pitcher calling. It's always the catcher who's calling those plays.
Well, next up is the left fielder, Jeffrey Baez, who is working hard to get himself back on the right track.
Ooh, there's that.
Off-speed falls in for a called strike 1.
70, 72 or 77, but that was an off-speed curveball.
Baez has worked himself up to a 257 average. He really needed a strong series here. He started it off with a solo home run back there on Friday night, and that seemed to kind of put the car in maybe first gear. But then he managed a second hit on Friday night, got 2 hits last night. And it looks like the car might be moving up gears a little bit.
Well, I wish you were here last year when he first arrived. I mean, he was a sensation. When he got here last year, I mean, he bombarded shots out of this ballpark like a U.S. Army 50 howitzer cannon. I mean, they were boom, they were gone, and they put holes in the outfield fence, and then all of a sudden he started getting that curveball, and those bombs, those shells started to be less and less.
When we saw in his home run on Friday night, he didn't even really mean. I mean, obviously you want to make contact, but it didn't look like he meant to make contact.
Right.
It was a bad swing. He didn't get a ton behind the swing.
But he was so strong.
But because his arms are so powerful,
right.
He armed that one out. 2-2, and he lifts it up to shallow center, and it looks like Feldman's going to get himself out 1-2-3. Oh, boy, the shortstop and center fielder collide, but the shortstop Diaz brings it in, and the center fielder does not look happy at all.
Well, the center fielder should apologize to that shortstop because the shortstop waved him off and said, I got it, unless he was watching the ball constantly and didn't see it. But that's how people get hurt.
Regardless, it's a 3-up, 3-down inning. And we head to the second inning, still scoreless from historic Bosse Field.
Something you never want to see, no matter who's playing.
Top of the second inning. As the Otters return to the field, let's walk you through the defensive alignment for them real quick because I missed it there in that first inning. Baez, Gordon, McNamee across the outfield, pretty similar to what we've seen recently. Here's where the changes come. Phillips at third, Armstrong at short, Davis at second, Sinsley at first, and Felix behind the plate. Well, Gossman will look to keep his day alive with where it's at so far. An impressive first inning for him. He threw a couple of strong fastballs, but he really bounced back well with putting some good off-speed offerings out there, even picked up a strikeout.
Yep.
Well, he's going against one of the best in the Frontier League, Peter Zimmerman, to start off this inning. First offering, and Zimmerman lays it off for a called strike one.
That looked like a cut fastball that had just the slightest movement, but he was taking anyway, no matter what.
So far in this two-game series, Zimmerman has 4 hits and 2 RBIs, yet neither of the RBIs came on hits. Swinging strike 2 on a pitch that Gossman just kept out of his reach.
I tell you, that is the best pitch a pitcher could throw, low outside to a right-hander.
Especially a big power right-hander who wants to gun this one out.
Right.
Put it out there right out of his reach.
That is Baez's biggest problem. He's so powerful that he goes after that low outside breaking pitch, and I mean, you need a sailor's oar to reach it.
So missing on the outside was Gossman, so it's a 1-2 count now.
Yeah, Gossman held that pitch too long, and it broke way out in front.
The 1-2. Swinging strike 3 on that same pitch. They'll have to throw it on to first just to make sure of it.
Ooh.
And Sinsley just about has to go over its head. No worries, though. It is a German-American bank strikeout on the drop third strike there against Peter Zimmerman. Well, you can't You can't hate Felix too much for dropping that one. That one basically landed in the dirt.
Yeah.
But it was a good pitch that made Zimmerman run after it, and he sure did.
Yep.
So that'll bring up the first baseman, Clint Freeman. He's had his way with the Otters as well this weekend. Managed a 2-run home run in yesterday's game. That was what at first looked like it was going to put the game out of reach.
Yeah.
He starts off with a swinging strike one. Big swing on that.
He was looking for a home run on that pitch. I'll tell you that because, my God, that was a hard swing.
Infield expecting him to pull to the right side a little bit. Really playing over. Big gap right up the middle. 0-1 bounces in there to even the count at 1-1.
Those uniforms are so white, aren't they? They're bleached white.
Especially out there in the sun.
Yes. Benny, the clubhouse man, does a heck of a job of keeping them white. I'll tell you that. Another local boy, but not a USI man. Oh, yes, it is. He went to college at USI. I'm sorry. But he went to modern day school on the west side. He's a teacher in the Evansville Catholic Diocese. He's a super, super kid.
1-1 the count to Clint Freeman. Gossman sends it home. It works inside for ball two. And, now I think we're going to start to see, of course, I don't know how much it affects some of these professional hitters, but the sun line or the shade line is starting to work in between the pitcher and the batter. So at some point as that ball is coming home, that ball turns from bright white to shadowed,
right?
Which can be hard for some of these guys to pick up the ball.
Yeah.
The 2-1 to Freeman. Oh, man, just misses on the high outside corner with the fastball there.
Aberdeen, South Dakota had the sun going down directly over center field. First, second, and third innings, batters were blinded with that sun coming right in their eyes.
The 3-1 works way up high, and Freeman will head to first. That's a tough pitch after he thought for sure he had evened the count up and instead gives up the one-out walk.
Well, it's a good test to see if they're going to steal early.
That's only the second walk given up by the Otters pitching staff all weekend.
Really?
There was none given up by Studeville and his staff in the first game, and the bullpen staff last night only gave up one.
Okay, well, I remember you kept bragging about our new pitcher not throwing giving up any walks. Yes, that is an honor.
Jose Rosario back in the starting nine for Gateway this game. He did not start yesterday, but he did appear in the sixth inning on. Big third baseman who can make some really good defensive plays.
And he did come back to bat in that game yesterday and got called out on third strike on a half abbreviated swing. Boy, you got a memory, I tell you.
The 1-0 to Rosario. He swings at a pitch just like Gossman threw Zimmerman 3 times to the outside edge. And now, if you look at both last weekend and this weekend, Rosario has struggled at the plate. It's why he didn't start last night.
On that pitch.
Yeah.
So that's all you give him. That's all you throw him every time he comes up. Just work that outside low corner.
The 1-1. Again, he goes there, and again, he gets a swinging strike.
Right. I mean, he chases that. And so, hey, as long as you want to go fishing, throw him the bait.
Well, and Gossman's pitch there, 86 mile an hour, but it dives low and away.
Right.
I mean, it looks like a strike until the last second when it just runs away from you.
Well, that's why he gets so many ground balls.
Yeah. 1-2 the count.
Same pitch.
Goes pretty near there. That one looked more straight up fastball than it did slider of any kind.
I think on his release he kind of pulled back because it never reached home plate. You got to have that arm fluid. You can't change the delivery.
But good pitchers put themselves ahead in the count, and now he has some balls to give, so he's all right.
Right.
2-2 count to Jose Rosario. Runner on first, 1 out. Here comes the 2-2. That one works high inside, and just like that, the count's full.
Now, let's see if he's running. The coach is giving a lot of signs down there. I don't know if the touching his nose was the key or what.
Well, Freeman over there on first is just 1 of 1 in stolen bases this year.
Yeah, but he got a 3-2
But on the
count.
3-2, why not? He does not run on the 3-2, and it's outside ball 4. So now back-to-back one-out walks from Austin Gossman in a count that he got 2 really good swinging strikes.
Yeah, I mean, well, anyway, we still can get out of the inning with a ground ball double play.
It'll bring up the left-handed bat of Cam Touche, who's not a usual starter for Gateway, but the two things he brings is really good speed and really good defensive work out in center field.
Yep.
Plus, Jay Prather has been struggling a little bit at the plate, so that has also caused Touche to get back in there. 302 average coming into this game. First chance goes off his knee, and the bases are loaded with 1 out. That happened quick.
Well, Felix was asking for an inside pitch. You've heard me say this before. I don't like seeing catchers move their body into where they want it. Gossman gave it to him where he wanted it, but just a little too close. Now we got the bases loaded. A base hit could bring in 2.
Depending on where the base hit is, it could bring in 3 because Touche is quick at first.
Yeah, that's true.
It'll bring up Alex Hernandez, the catcher. Batting average is struggling this year. 125 entering this game. This is a way to kick it off. This would be a huge place to get a hit.
Well, an infield pop fly, that'd be automatic out, would help.
First offering stays low for ball 1.
Runner on third. It's not going down the line that much. He doesn't need to. Base hit, fly ball, he could score. So he doesn't need to run halfway home every pitch.
Both outside infielders are playing rather inside, close to the grass. Middle infielder is playing a little further out. A swinging strike 1 on a high inside pitch. Evens the count at a ball and a strike.
I mean, that was ball 2. That was really high. And
the eyes were full of an RBI chance. Saw the elevated pitch. And
he saw fruit salad on that one.
Gossman ready to deliver on the 1-1 to Hernandez. Just misses on the low corner.
We can't afford a walk.
Yeah, at this point, they're all full. Walk brings 1 home. Gossman with a glance around the infield. Ready on the 2-1. This one's lifted high in the infield.
It's an
now
automatic.
Over towards foul territory, and Felix brings it in for out number 2.
Big out.
Very important one. So with 2 down and the bases loaded, the 9-hole hitter shortstop Abdil Diaz will head in. Diaz has struggled as well at the plate in the recent games, batting just .255 now. Diaz actually leads the team with 27 strikeouts.
Wow. However, he's a little man there, but he's got 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. Probably about a 145-pounder.
First pitch to Diaz.
Strike.
Catches the outside edge for a called strike 1, and he knew it right away. Kind of shook his fist a little bit, upset that he didn't go after it. That was carving the corner by Gossman. Counts sitting at 0-1 in favor of Austin Gossman on the mound. Base is loaded, 2 outs, no score yet. The ball's fouled off to the left side, out of play. And Gossman's got himself within 1 strike of getting out of it.
Now, if I'm catching, I'm going to ask for a high fastball. I hope it's not a strike, but I'm hoping the batter goes after it.
That's the thing. You've got pitches to give.
Right. He can afford 3 pitches.
The 0-2 to Abdil Diaz. Swinging strike 3, and Gossman gets himself out of the inning. 2 walks and a hit by pitch, all with 1 out. Loaded the bases. Gossman gets himself out of it. We head to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Still scoreless from Evansville. Bottom of the 2nd inning, coming at you here from historic Bosse Field. You know, it's not the first time this week we have seen a starting pitcher for the Otters give up 1, 2, 3 base runners, all on their own issue, with this time being walks. Yet get themselves out of it. Really good to see Gossman be able to keep his composure and not just finish the inning, but do it with a strikeout as well.
He got himself in his own jam, but he got himself out of it too. And that shows courage, determination, and guts. G-U-T-S, guts.
The Otters will kick off the 2nd inning with their cleanup man, the 3rd baseman, Dakota Felix. Still leads the team in batting average at .352. First offering to him. Gets a good swing behind it, but just gets underneath it for a foul ball, strike 1.
That was what was the velocity on that? It wasn't 90, was it?
Don't think so. 89, so pretty close.
Yeah, because Dakota was a little late on the swing. That's what I was wondering.
The 0-1. That one catches zone on the outside edge. And Phillips is quickly down 0-2.
Now he's wearing a sleeve protected. Has he got hit in the arm too many times that he's wearing one of those batting sleeves?
See, I'm not sure, because he almost always wears a full right sleeve, but no full left sleeve.
Oh, okay.
Could be a comfort thing, could be a superstition thing. I don't really know.
That's true. That is true.
Able to take a ball that's just outside, and the count's at 1-2 now for Dakota Phillips. Feldman sends it his way. He thinks about going, does not.
No way,
they
no
say
way.
No, he did not.
You know, I wish that umpire behind the plate would look up here when he wants help. I'll give it to him. There's no way he was going to be a strike.
So the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes for Mr. Phillips.
That patio deck looks like it's an invitation. Now that's ball 3.
Takes ball 3, another pitch that was just on the outside edge. And to be honest, a pitch that we have seen throughout this year, a lot of umpires call a strike. You got to be careful with some of those.
Well, that's true. You got to know the umpire. What I mean, does he call the? I mean, if he's consistent.
The 3-2.
No,
brings him
no.
up on that one, and Phillips cannot believe it. Almost the exact same place the last pitch was, except raised about 1.5 inches, according to Yakkertech at least. And he'll make the walk back to the dugout with his first strikeout of the game.
I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say it's a mistake on the ball player's part. So many ball players assume ball 4, they start walking away. I think the umpires say, hey, you're embarrassing me, and they say strike 3. Now, that's an opinion.
It'll bring up the former Mississippi State man, Big Hit Mac, Elijah McNamee, who has put together quite the string of games, reached base safely at least once in every game for the last 19 games, and has 3 straight multi-hit outings. He's found a way to be really consistent. A check swing, they check down at first and say, yes, he does, so he's looking at a 1-1 count now.
Right, I'd agree. He did go around.
But he's found a way recently to quietly work his batting average further and further up, and he's a consistent bat on this lineup now. Skies one foul towards the right side. Freeman chasing after it in the sun and hauls it in for out number 2. A foul out by Elijah McNamee, and it's quickly 2 up, 2 down for the Otters. The second baseman, J.R. Davis, makes his way to the plate.
I would say to our good friend Elijah, quicken up your swing. You're a little hesitant on those pitches. That's why he's hitting the right field. The bat is slow going through. So pick up your speed on your swing.
J.R. Davis, who enters the game batting .277, looking for some more consistency from his game.
There's a strike.
Takes a pitch on the outside edge for a called strike 1.
And
the 0-1 to Davis. That one on the inside edge, and that's called strike 2. He turns around and gives a couple of words of affirmation, I'm sure, to David Bailey.
Well, I'm going to say right now, this umpire's a little inconsistent. I mean, his strike zone is wide and big.
The 0-2 to J.R. Davis. Bounces in for ball 1. Davis does take a lot of, we've seen this year, called strike 3s because on those 0-2, he really does challenge the pitcher a lot of the time.
Right.
The 1-2, Feldman sends it home. It's outside, and the count evens up at 2-2. Pretty good crowd here on hand for a Sunday evening game. A couple of dogs in attendance as well here on Dog Days of Summer. The 2-2 to Davis. He just chips this one up and over the seating area.
Yeah, I mean, that foyer was really jam-packed when I came in. I mean, right now, I'm going to say there was at least 1,000 people huddled all around the opening of the
there were
gate.
A ton right when the gates opened this
Yeah.
evening. 2-2 again to Davis. That one, nice pitch. Breaks towards the outside edge. That's a hard one to lay off.
Right, and the parking lot was kind of full, too.
Well, and finally today, it sounds like the swim meet that was happening across the street at the Deaconess place is finished. Yesterday, they were there all day and took a lot of parking spots just for that. Davis chops one right back up the middle. Hard play for Diaz to first in time for out number 3. We've played 2 full innings. We're still looking for not just a run. We're looking for a hit in this game. A lot of fun thus far. Stick it right here for the remainder of this one here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Ready for the top of the 3rd inning here from historic Bosse Field. Another quick look at the standings if you missed it during pregame. First place, Evansville Otters, tied with the Washington Wild Things. Right behind is Schaumburg, a surprise Joliet team, way up there as well. Windy City, Gateway, Lake Erie, Florence round out the West. Quebec and Ottawa pacing the field in the East Division. Huge gap down to Tri-City, but then it is really close. Tri-City all the way down to New Jersey. Empire State still looking for that elusive win number 1. They're not going to get it today because they are postponed in their game with Ottawa.
Well, I hope the Empire State, I don't know where they're located, but there's that George Washington Bridge that goes from New Jersey to New York. That's kind of high. And there's only one man that ever survived that, diving off that or jumping off that bridge. I don't know if you knew that. Remember remember the man that played Tarzan? And he was a former Olympic swimmer. He's the only man that ever jumped off the George Washington Bridge and survived.
First offering to Andrew Penner. Misses about a bit low, I'm sorry, 4-1.
You remember Tarzan, boy? Jane? Tarzan. Yes, boy.
1-0 the count to Andrew Penner. Gossman looking for a much better half inning than his last one. Here comes the 1-0 to Penner.
Curveball.
Off speed stays way up high, and the count's 2-0.
Now, that was a breaking pitch that never broke. If you notice, the release, when he released that ball, that was no snap. It was just hung. You know, on the way home last night, after this pitch, I'll say it.
The 2-0 to Penner just catches the high edge for a called strike 1.
I have my son-in-law bring me to the ball game, and I have my son pick me up after the game. So on the way home last night, my son was driving, and his wife said something, and I don't remember, but I was sitting in the back seat, and and it was funny. Here he is driving, and he's telling his wife in the front seat, "You got to pull the curtain. You got to break your wrist." And he's talking about last night's game. So it's amazing. He was a pretty good ball player, my son.
A half swing from Penner has him looking at a 2-2 count. Gossman chasing another K. The 2-2. Swinging strike 3, and Gossman has his 4th German American Bank strikeout of the game. Just dove it towards the dirt, and yet again he has a man chase it down there.
Right. I'll just end up and say I have 4 sons, and David probably was the most talented, but he lacked one quality. He'd rather ride motorcycles and date girls than play sports, and yet he had the most talent.
Isaac Bernard makes his way to the plate. A strikeout in his first at-bat in this game. First chance for him. It's a big swing. He comes up empty-handed on it. Had a really good game yesterday. A double, a single, a walk. But he was left stranded out on the base paths every time but one. No balls, 1 strike to Isaac Bernard. Austin Gossman kicks and delivers. Catches the high outside corner, and he's ahead 0-2 in the count now.
I know this has nothing to do with the game, but you notice the socks that Gateway has? There's like some symbol or something on those socks. It stands out.
The 0-2 for Isaac Bernard. Off-speed misses high outside. Looked like the curveball just didn't get a lot of break.
Well, again, he's not pulling the arm down. He's releasing it high up here.
So still ahead in the count is Austin Gossman, looking at a 1-2 count with 1 out in the top of the 3rd inning. Still no score here from Evansville. The 1-2 to Bernard. Lifted out towards left center. It's dropping down for a base hit. Long run from Baez. He comes up short, and it'll be a double.
Now, if you notice, that was the hanging curve up around his letters that he just poked in the left center.
Yeah, he just let it carry out there, and Baez got a good run at it.
Yeah.
Just about kept it in front of him for a single, but ended up just a half step short. And it's a one-out double for Isaac Bernard. It brings up the second baseman, Trevor Achenbaugh.
And what you're saying is so true. The center fielder, which is Miles Gordon, backed it up. And that's what you got to have in the outfield. The center fielder's got to back up those right fielders and left fielders.
Showing bunts as Achenbaugh, but it is significantly foul.
Right. As well as the left fielder and right fielder have to back up the center fielder, because if it gets by them, it gently rolls to the fence, and that means extra bases.
Yeah, the infield has guys behind him to help him out. The outfielders do not. 0-1 the count to Trevor Achenbaugh, who is a pretty consistent hitter in this three-hole. 267 average, but he has 18 RBIs. The 0-1 works outside, and it gets past Felix, and the runner will advance to third.
You know, I once asked the college outfielders, if you're playing left field or right field, and there's a shot down the line, you're not going to get it, but are you going to try to run directly at the pitch or the fly ball or whatever, or are you going to phase off so that if it ricochets off the wall, you're in the position of holding him to a single rather than trying to outrun it and you let the batter get a double or triple.
1-1 the count to Achenbaugh. He fouls one back into the face mask of Justin Felix, and the count goes to 1-2.
I don't know if you agree with me on that. Instead of trying to, you know, it's like the pitcher coming over to cover first. The first baseman throws it. If you lead the pitcher, but if you lead him too much, the batter ends up at second base. That's why you got to lob it. Give the pitcher a chance to backtrack.
The 1-2 to Achenbaugh. Swinging strike three. Good snag from Felix in the dirt for out number 2.
That is another big strikeout. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5. 5 German American Bank strikeouts now for Austin Gossman, and all but one have been swinging, and all but that one have been on that low outside ball that just gets running away from some of these guys.
Yep.
Well, the first one who was guilty of a strikeout in that second inning is up now. Peter Zimmerman, the designated hitter, on that drop third strike. Big RBI chance for him. He takes a pitch a little bit inside for ball 1.
And yet he struck out on the low outside pitch.
Zimmerman has managed a couple of RBIs in this series thus far. None of them with hits, though. One a sac fly and one a fielder's choice. The 1-0 towards Zimmerman. Hit sharply towards Armstrong at short. He'll play it over to first in time. Nice stretch from Sinsley. And again, Gossman works himself out of a dangerous situation. And we head to the bottom half of the third inning. Still scoreless from Bossy. And it's time for the bottom of the third inning. Once again, we see Austin Gossman get himself in a bit of a trouble, but work himself out of it. Nice to see from him.
Well, those strikeouts have been so important. They came at the right time. And We're going into what? The bottom of the third? And he's got 5 strikeouts already? That's amazing.
Well, if you notice the other thing, the very first batter he saw had the fly out to center. Other than the double, everything else has been on the ground.
Right.
Well, the first baseman, Steven Sinsley, will get us started in the third inning. He was one of 2 Otters last night that ended up going hitless. He was really getting good form before he had to be put on the IL for a couple of days, and that kind of restarted his timeline now. If he can get back to where he was a week and a half ago, this team would be changed for the better. Starts with an 0-1 count after first strike.
He got a couple of home runs to left field, if you recall. During that time, he was hot, and he got a couple left center field shots that drove in some runs as well.
Well, swung on another pitch that broke towards the outside, and he's down 0-2 in the count. Payoff pitch. Yes, indeed. Called strike 3. 2 strikeouts by the Otters, and both of them are strikeout looking. It'll bring up the catcher, Justin Felix.
Well, that one that the umpire called strike 3 on Phillips, if he had argued like that Tennessee University ball player did to the umpire, he'd been out of the game. And by the way, I'm quite sure Mr. Bussing is happy that Notre Dame beat Tennessee twice.
Yeah, knocked him off, and Notre Dame's headed to the College World Series.
So they're going to the World Series. Yeah, we may miss Mr. Kaufman for a couple of days. You know, he is a big Notre Dame fan. So he might be going to the World Series in Omaha.
Yeah, it's a nice ballpark there.
Yep.
Justin Felix starts his count with a strike, and he's down 0-1 at his count. The 0-1 works towards the outside edge. He is able to hold up. Felix was the other batter last night who went hitless.
Yeah. You know, I was reading a story about that Omaha baseball stadium. My brother managed there in 69 and 70, won the American Association Championship, managing Omaha.
1-1 to Felix, works outside ball 2.
And it was one of the nicest stadiums. And then they decided to move it downtown or something, and it just didn't go over. I mean, for some reason, millions of dollars on a new stadium, and it just didn't go well.
No one on, 1 out, 2-1 count to Justin Felix. Hefty swing, and the count evens at 2-2.
He reached for that. Felix is starting to reach for a lot of outside pitches. As a catcher, you should know if you've got to reach that it's out of your zone. See where he puts the bat? It covers the outside plate, so you don't have to reach. The bat covers it.
The 2-2. Watches that one go by for ball 3. The count is full.
Now that could have been possibly called third strike if he had caught it. And if it was a third strike, then I'd say the catcher had an error. That is, if he made first base, strike out, and went to first base. I don't know if you ever had that experience as a catcher. I have. You missed the third strike, the guy gets first.
The 3-2 to Felix. Sends one past Rosario at third, through for a base hit, the first base hit of the game for the Otters.
Yeah.
First base runner of the game for the Otters. That's solid contact there. That's a good base hit.
Yes, yes. That's what he needs more of.
Well, it'll bring up one of the sneakiest hitters on this team, Andy Armstrong, who has found himself into some good scenarios. In fact, he has an RBI in 3 of his last 4 games. A lot of that on his bunt down the lines that have just been perfectly placed.
Well, this is a good situation for that bunt right now. The way the game is going, not many hits. And you got a situation to move the runner over, because neither team, here we are in the bottom of the third, and there's only 2 hits, and Felix's was the first for the Otters. So there's not much scoring, so take advantage.
The 0-1 works way inside on Armstrong, and the count evens at a ball and a strike.
But I get big money to sit up here. Andy gets big money to call. And you get more money than me. I think 10 cents more an hour, something like that.
1-1 from Armstrong is fouled back into the face mask of Hernandez, and the count's at 1-2 for the shortstop for Morgan State.
Well, that takes the bunt away. 2 strikes. I got to tell you a story. I was on third base. We were losing 3-2, and I was on third base. Horace Gardner, the most feared hitter in minor league baseball, was batting. And the third baseman, and I'm not exaggerating, was playing back on the grass.
The 1-2 to Armstrong. That one goes behind him, and Felix will head to second from it.
The third baseman was actually playing on the outfield grass. And I turned around to Bob Coleman, and I said, Bob, I could steal home. Look where the third baseman is. I mean, I could walk home. Shut up, McCune, shut up. Well, strike 1 to Horace. By the way, Horace ended up hitting like 350. So Horace takes strike 1. Then it's strike 2, and I turn around to Coleman, the manager. I said, well, there goes me stealing. I can't steal with two strikes on the batter. The next pitch, Horace hits a ground ball.
2-2 to Armstrong, and is he going to lay it into right? No, the right fielder, Bernard, was playing really far in, and because of it, he's in perfect place to make that catch, and Armstrong has a hit pulled out from underneath him.
Right. To end the story, Horace hits a ground ball to the third baseman. The ball goes in his glove. The ball and the glove continues into left field. I score easily, and we win. And Coleman says to the players in the locker room, can you imagine McCune wanting to steal home with Horace batting? Who the heck knew that he was going to hit a shot that would take the ball and the glove into left field? But that's the way Horace used to bat. That's why he was the best minor league hitter ever.
Brings up the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, who grounded out to the first baseman his first time up. Gordon, the leadoff man tonight.
Yep. Felix got to get a better lead.
The 1-0 for Gordon stays a bit low, and it's a 2-0 count.
Yeah.
Felix did get a good jump after the pitch was thrown.
Well, look where the second baseman's playing. And then you look at the shortstop. He could get another 5-10 feet because he's got to score on the base hit. See,
the 2-0 to Gordon. He puts
now
one out in the right field. It's going to drop down.
Yeah.
It might be extra bases for Gordon. He's rounding first. Felix is going to score, and actually Gordon's going to retreat back to first. Good thing he did. What a throw from Bernard. But it's an RBI single from Miles Gordon, and the Otters take the lead.
Yeah, he didn't need to get that big lead. He hit that ball. Gordon hit that ball in the perfect spot.
Well, Gordon is saying, hey, Zach Bierman, I see your 3-run home run, and I raise you a go-ahead RBI single in this game.
Yep.
Those two are on a different level right now, both hitting very well.
Oh, yeah. And you said Armstrong went from a 1-something to 300 hitter, too, so he's in that bracket.
Zach Bierman heads up now.
In other words, they're all clicking on the same note.
Bierman takes a pitch high and outside for ball 1. Former Coastal Carolina man. The 1-0 to him. Ooh, he loads up on that swing, but just got underneath it. It's fouled back into the netting.
Right, and that was a little outside. And Zach was pulling away. If you notice, he extended the arm, but he was pulling away.
Count even at 1-1. Pitch on the way to Bierman. Lets it go outside, and he's ahead of the count yet again.
This is a good steal pitch right here. It could be a ball, a curve ball, which would be good.
2-1.
Yep.
Bierman loads up on this one. It's a pitch inside and low near the ankles, and He just sends it foul to the right side. Count evens up at 2-2.
Yep. Andy, you could possibly check on this. I don't know if Andy gives the steal sign or whether the runners run on their own.
Another pitch fouled back into the netting by Bierman.
Because I know a lot of managers, they let the runners, if they think they can make it, go ahead. I don't agree with it, but.
Miles Gordon with a decent lead over there at first. The 2-2 count to Bierman. There goes Gordon. Pitches outside. The throw out to second. Not in time.
Boy. It was a good throw, but boy, Gordon was already sitting on the bag when he made the tag.
Big smile for him.
Yep.
As Gordon earns his seventh stolen base of the year. Bit to go to catch up to the Frontier League's leader, Gary Mattis, who's at 17.
It really? Oh, boy. Last I remember was like 13. Strike 3.
And Bierman thought for sure he had earned first. But it's a called strike 3 for him, and he heads back to the dugout, as do the rest of the Otters, but not before they get themselves on the board with an RBI single from Miles Gordon. We head to the 4th inning. Otters up 1. Top of the 4th coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. The Otters take advantage of a couple of base hits and a quality base running opportunity to score the first run of this ball game off an RBI single from Miles Gordon. They give Gossman now a lead to work with. Let's see how he deals with it. He will face Clint Freeman, Jose Rosario, and Cam Touche, who all 3 reached in the first inning on walks, and then, of course, Touche's hit by pitch, but they had the bases loaded. Freeman's first chance here stays a bit low for ball 1.
That's the second ball the umpire just threw out. I don't know why. When I used to get a new ball for the pitcher.
1-0, Freeman on a line, and Steven Sinsley with a nice little scoop.
Oh!
That might be the best play Steven Sinsley's made at first all season.
Look in the other hand. Maybe you got the gold star. But
look what I found to play.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was like a big construction shovel. Boom! He just picked it up. If the timing wasn't right, that ball would have ended up going to the fence. That was hit so hard. And that would have been a double, possible triple, too.
So Austin Gossman, gifted by a good play from his infield. Looking at a first pitch to Jose Rosario, who half swings.
See, now, They're thrown outside, and that's what you got to do. This guy just throw it low and outside. Let him reach and swing and miss.
1 out here in the 4th inning. Otters have the slight 1-0 lead.
Remember, he had 2 strikes on Rosario and then walked him last time.
The 1-0 to Rosario. That one just misses on the inside edge.
Now you got to throw it down the middle. You can't afford to walk him.
So far in all 4 innings, Gossman has started with an out, but in 2 of the 3 innings, then he's given up base runners right after that first out.
Oh, really?
2-0 to Freeman. He fouls it off to the left side, and finally Gossman has a strike. Yeah, Gossman's done well to set the pace of the inning, but then that's when he has some issues making sure he's continuing to sit him down.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting. What does he throw? Will he throw that curveball low and outside or fastball? It's going to be interesting. I know what I'm calling.
2-1. Felix set up on the outside edge, and he gets it almost right over the middle,
Yep.
evening the count at 2-2.
See, now he's got 2 strikes. He can afford to throw that low outside pitch.
Well, and you don't have to worry about runners advancing if it gets past Felix.
Right. But it's got to be close enough to the strike that he goes after. Well, now he's working inside.
The 2-2. That one works a bit low, and it's a swinging strike 3 for Jose Rosario. The 6th German-American bank strike out of the game for Austin Gossman. You got to be really lucky to, first of all, make contact with something that Gossman throws. Second of all, to get air underneath it and lift it up.
Yeah.
Almost every pitch he throws sinks towards the bottom of the zone, and that is really hard to get solid contact on.
Yeah, when the bat is hitting the top of the ball, logic is it's going to be a ground ball.
But of course, then you got to rely on plays like that one from Sinsley to keep you all right.
Oh my God, that one belongs on ESPN tonight. There's no doubt about that. You're not going to see many first basemen make that play. I mean, he scooped it.
We're going to take one more look at it here on the right side. Man, it was so quick. The camera nearly couldn't grab it.
Right.
0-1 the count to Cam Touche, the center fielder. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. And Gossman sends away high outside. Release point was really off there.
You got to teach your children, release the ball shoulder high. Not high up here, shoulder high. Boom, that's where it's made.
The 1-1 from Gossman. This one's lifted out towards center. Gordon runs in 2 steps, then run back 4 or 5 steps to haul it in for out number 3. And yet again, Gossman has found a way through a 3-up, 3-down inning. And we head to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Otters still up by 1. Bottom of the fourth inning. Coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball here on Flow Sports is presented by Budweiser, the king of beers. And especially in the late stages of last year, not quite yet this year, the king of power was Jeffrey Baez, and he's going to get a shot here to lead off the fourth inning.
Yeah.
Popped up to the shortstop his first time up, but he has managed well in this series so far. 4 hits through 2 games. That's one of his best 2-game stretches of the season.
He's probably got more power than any other Otter player. He's built like a Sherman tank, but he's making a lot of big mistakes by reaching for outside pitches all the time, taking away his power.
First offering for Baez stays a bit high and maybe inside a bit as well.
Although we've seen him reach for that outside and bloop it over the infield and get some base hits. But a guy like that, you're paying him for power, not for bloop singles.
The 1-0, and he does lift one up, but it does get foul. And yeah, the entire infield is playing pretty far back.
Yeah. Yeah, that third baseman is playing a few feet shy of the outfield grass. Well, the other night, was it this team here, the third baseman got hit in the chin or something?
1-1, Baez sends it foul to the right side. Freeman making a play on it, and he brings it in for out number 1. That's a play that only is an out here at Bosse Field due to these huge foul areas on both right and left field of the infield. So it's quickly 1 up, 1 down as the cleanup hitter, third baseman Dakota Phillips, heads to the plate.
I don't know if you noticed Baez, but he was failing to take a stride on that pitch that's over the middle, and he's backing up and dropping his shoulder, and that's why he has a lot of pop flies, because he's not striding with the pitch.
First swing for Phillips, and he sends it foul to the left side. Oh, 1 for Dakota Phillips after the foul ball. And the pitch on the way just catches the outside edge.
Well, Dakota's got to get a base hit to keep his string going to be the all-star.
0-2 to Phillips. That one works outside. Otters owner Bill Bussing making his way up the steps to his seats up here to our right side.
Yeah.
Always good to see Mr. Bussing here.
Oh, yeah. He went to the president's box. That's the president of the club's box seat.
The 1-2 to Phillips. Swinging strike 3. He'll sit down with a strikeout for the second time today.
And that was a lazy swing. I hate to say it, Dakota, but that was a lazy swing.
Well, when these two faced each other, meaning Brendan Feldman on the mound and Phillips at the plate, last week, Phillips struck out 4 times in that game.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That was one of his weaknesses, but you had said earlier he had improved.
Well, to bring up big hit Elijah McNamee to the plate. He fouled out to the right side his first time up on some unfortunate contact for him.
Yep.
Chops through one that goes into the face mask of Hernandez behind the plate. Strike 1.
Getting back to Dakota, I think he's getting a little lazy on his swing, too. You know, he's slow. I don't know, maybe he's carrying the load on his shoulder too much. You know, I mean, when the team needed him, that's when he really came through.
0-1 the count to Elijah McNamee.
Elijah, look where the third baseman is.
McNamee right back up the middle, a base hit.
Never mind.
Make it 20 games in a row that Elijah McNamee's found a way on base.
Really? 20. Okay, here we are. Are we going to steal or are we going to...
If it was maybe Miles Gordon, I would go ahead and steal. With it being Elijah McNamee, I'd take the sure thing, and that's just let things be. Give Davis a chance to hit him around.
Okay. You're the manager. I mean, whatever you say is what we do.
I trust Andy more than I trust myself, though.
Well,
First pitch
ooh.
to Davis glides in for a called strike one.
If that was 65, I'll be a Popeye's associate.
Came in at 73. They throw over to McAmey to check on him. He's back in time. So the count remains at 0-1 towards J.R. Davis. Now it's on the way. Davis takes it for a called strike two. Now this would be a pitch I wouldn't be surprised to see him put McNamee in motion. 0-2 sent right back up the middle towards the second baseman, who plays it on 2 hops to first in time, and that ends the inning. Otters get a base runner with 2 outs, but nothing comes from it. After 4 complete, it's Otters 1, Grizzlies 0. And we head to the 5th inning with the Otters still leading in this one. Good work for them so far, though the offense is not quite producing where it would like to be. Gossman's done a good job to get himself out of some innings, and he's going to get another try here in the 5th.
Well, let's say it this way. Let's be honest. If it wasn't for Grossman's getting himself out of his own jams, we may be losing this game instead of being 1-up.
And it might not be a 2-1 or a 3-1. It might be a 5 or 6-1 game.
Exactly.
Right,
yeah, we haven't. Our bats have yet to ring out.
Well, leading off for the Gateway Grizzlies will be their catcher, Alex Hernandez. He had the bases loaded and 1 out before he fouled out in the 2nd inning. Huge missed opportunity for him. Gossman staring at the sun as he sends the first pitch towards Hernandez. Just misses low ball 1.
Friday, June the 7th, Bossy Field anniversary.
Yeah, next Friday night, actually, against the Lake Erie Crushers. They're going to have the anniversary as well as a couple other promotions. I believe fireworks next weekend as well.
I hope they don't ask me to throw out the first pitch. I probably got the longest association with Bossy Field than anyone on the Otters team, because I go back to my Braves day in 1956.
The 2-0 to Hernandez.
Oh,
Gossman able to get a glove on it over to first. Took his time to throw it slowly and got the out.
Right.
Came back at him in a hurry.
That's where you don't want to hurry your throw. All the excitement, boom, that's when you end up throwing. But no, you go back to 1956, that's 60 years old. Most of the people working for the Otters today weren't even born.
So that'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, shortstop Abdil Diaz. He struck out in the 2nd inning again with the bases loaded. Gossman ready's on the mound. First pitch to Diaz. Swinging strike one on a pitch on the inside edge.
Yeah.
In fact, that was off the strike zone by about 2 or 3 inches. The slider just broke towards his stomach. 0-1 towards Diaz. He chops it fair towards the first base side. Sinsley with a
Safe,
hit over
safe.
to Gossman, and he's safe at first.
Base hit.
Sinsley just couldn't get to it and flick it over fast enough. He got the throw to Gossman, but Gossman hadn't quite made it to the first base quite yet.
Well, Sinsley also flipped it in the air. Instead of shooting it, he flipped it high. And, of course, Grossman had to wait until to come back down.
Now, credit's also due to Abdil Diaz, who got out of the box in a hurry and made that play happen.
Yes, he did.
He's one of the league's best in stolen bases, so we'll have to keep an eye on him over there at first.
Really? Well.
First offering to leadoff man Andrew Penner. Works high inside ball 1. To be exact, Abdil Diaz so far on the year is 8 of 9 in stolen base attempts. He's tied for 10th in the league.
Well, that's pretty impressive. Felix got to get off that knee. He can't rest on that knee.
The 1-0 to Penner. Works low outside. Penner won't bite at it. The count's 2-0.
Well, now's a good count to steal. 2-0 count. It could be a hit and run, or it could execute. I would call it a hit and run.
2-0 the count to Andrew Penner. Abdil Diaz with a pretty good lead over there at first. 2-0. Chopped foul back towards the dugouts of Gateway. And once again, Diaz doesn't show any hint about wanting to steal.
No, he didn't. I was surprised. Well, I'm looking down at the manager. He doesn't give many signs. So you can't steal the signs off the manager if you don't give them.
2-1 the count to Andrew Penner. On the way. Off speed, breaks towards the outside. Felix does a good job to jump over at it.
Now, I would say this would be a steal pitch.
Count is 3-1 with 1 out and a runner on first.
And the manager just gave a slew of signs. Look at the base runner. Did he look down at first to find out how far second was?
The 3-1 to Penner.
No, he didn't go.
Chopped to the left side of the infield. Picked up by Phillips over to first in time for the 1 out.
That was close.
And for the second straight at bat, credit due to the batter who got out of the box in a hurry and made a close play at first.
Yes.
Officially, it's a 5-3 fielder's choice. That'll move Diaz to second. Now 2 outs and a runner at second.
You know what you're saying is so true. Getting out of that batter's box is the key. When it's a step, bang, bang, you're out. If you gotten out of that box better, you might have been bang, bang, you're safe.
Well, you already have so much to think about as a batter in the box. One of them is not usually, I need to make sure I'm ready to run.
Yeah. You know, I grew up in New Jersey, South Amboy, New Jersey, which today the field is called the John A. McCune Memorial Baseball Field. And we used to have a step ladder to get out of the batter's box. It was so deep. And it was amazing. Then you go into pro ball and you've got beautiful fields.
1-0 the count to Isaac Bernard. Big RBI chance for him here. The 1-0. Misses low, and the count's 2-0.
You know, that's the amazing thing. A lot of people, those of us sitting up here in the press box and newspaper writers, they don't realize some of the conditions these young ball players played under in semi-pro and high school. You know, backyard fields, holes, first base being the newspaper.
2-0 to Bernard. That one works way high and outside. Gossman behind in the count 3-0 with the tying run out there at second.
Yeah.
Infield is playing pretty much straight up, and towards the back of the infield dirt, maximizing that range. Gossman's 3-0 pitch.
Strike 2.
Just catches the high outside corner for strike 1. The outfield plate a bit shifted to the right. But right now, the only thing that needs to happen is Gossman's got to put something in the zone, or at least near the zone. The 3-1 completely misses. That one slipped out of his hand, and it's a 5-pitch walk.
Yeah, if that had gotten to the backstop, the runner would have been on third. So Felix did a pretty good job of getting up and snagging that.
Well, it might have been a blessing because now there are a bunch of force outs, so anything in the infield would almost surely end the inning at this point.
That's true.
Barring a error of any type. But it is a pretty good hitter, the second baseman, Trevor Achenbaugh, who heads to the plate. Achenbaugh has managed 2 hits in the series thus far. And every time he's got a hit in the series, he has come around to score. First chance for him in the high inside corner, called strike 1.
Now that would be about 78, 79. We didn't get a register on it, but it was not one of Grossman's fastballs, I'll say that.
Oh, 1 towards Achenbaugh. Bounces in to even the count of the ball and a strike. We've seen more balls in the dirt on 0-1 counts tonight than I feel like I've seen in a long time.
Right. And as far as I know, when they first invented the game, it was 60 feet, 6 inches. So it's still got to go that far.
The 1-1. Sent chopping to the left side.
And he got him reaching, got 2 strikes on him. Don't we have? Yeah, 2 strikes. Yep.
One-two count with 2 outs here. This is a huge pitch for Austin Gossman.
Everybody play back. Make sure you get the ground ball.
Gossman has his sign. A glance over towards third. And here comes the 1-2 with 2 outs and 2 on. Sent to the left side. Armstrong, a long way to go. It falls out of his glove, and he doesn't throw. Even if that stayed in his glove, I don't think he had a play.
He didn't have the play, but he also saved a run.
Absolutely.
That's the big thing.
He went a long way to get that.
Right. He did. That's why I think he's the best shortstop that we have on the team and should be there every day.
So just like that, the bases are loaded for the second time in this game for Gateway. And it is one of the Frontier League's most dangerous men at the plate,
right.
Peter Zimmerman. Man, you know he is shaking in his boots there. This is a huge chance for him to keep proving to people why he's one of the best. First offering to Zimmerman. Misses on the inside edge, ball 1.
They've been working outside with Zimmerman. He's been reaching. So I don't know why we're calling inside pitches. Don't pitch to his strength, pitch to his weakness. Outside.
1 ball, no strikes to Peter Zimmerman. Gossman tries again. This one sent sharply to the left side, but foul.
Outside low, he reached, pulled it. He's going to pull everything. So by making him reach, you're taking his power away.
That was an important pitch for Gossman to even the count at 1-1, but he's still got work to do.
Yes, he does.
Otters lead by 1.
And Felix got to block anything that's low.
Bases are loaded with 2 outs for Gateway. A big chance for them to tie or take the lead here. The 1-1 to Zimmerman. thinks about going and leaves it be for ball 2.
I tell you what, this umpire's thrown out more baseballs than I've seen any umpires thrown out all year or for years.
Gossman with a long wait up there. Has his sign. And readies for the 2-1 to Peter Zimmerman.
Looking for an inside pitch.
Zimmerman swings through a pitch.
Thank God it was low.
Gossman went a little quicker there, 88 mile an hour. And now the deuces are wild.
Well, this could be the game right here on this pitch.
Absolutely. A 2-2 to Peter Zimmerman. On the way. Breaks towards the outside edge. That is a really good pitch. If that's just a hair closer, Zimmerman might bite on that.
Right, because he didn't give it the full arm extension. He kind of short-armed it. And that's why it was low outside, but didn't. If it was over the plate, it would have been a strike, but it didn't reach the plate. You can't change your delivery when you need a strike.
Full count. 2 outs, bases loaded. Gossman throwing to Peter Zimmerman. Just misses on the low outside corner. Zimmerman's going to walk, and a run will come home, and this game is tied.
It's all tied.
Pitch did indeed miss the zone, but not by too much.
Right. And here comes Andy.
I would like to say hello to the Peninsula Regiment here at the ball.
Now, I don't see anyone warming up or even thinking about warming up for the Otters, but Max is still going to go have a talk with his pitcher, Austin Gossman. And now the whole infield will make a trek in there.
You know, one of the things I always learned as a catcher, Matthew, is when a pitching coach comes out or the manager comes out, instead of talking to the pitcher, talk to the catcher. In other words, who knows what is going on except the catcher? When you ask the pitcher what's going on, oh, nothing, Skip, I can do it, whatever. But if you talk to the catcher, he's able to say, Skip, warm somebody up because his fastball don't have any zip anymore and the curveball's not biting. Get someone ready. What pitcher's going to tell you, hey, take me out?
Well, he might not have the league-wide recognition as one of the best bats in the Frontier League, but Clint Freeman is a man to be worried about at the plate. Bases loaded for him. Huge RBI chance for him. Lets the first pitch go by, and that one just misses on the outside corner for ball 1.
And I'll agree with you. Didn't he hit the home run the other night?
The two-runner yesterday. And because of it, the outfield shifts just a tiny bit to the right. Infield playing deep. Just need 1 out here. The 1-0 to Freeman. Hefty swing.
If I'm not mistaken, in last night's game, he hit a low pitch down by his ankles. He pulled it. It went out of the ballpark by about 20 feet foul. Then he hit the next one in center field for a home run.
Yeah, it looked like he had the 5-iron out for the first one.
But it was the same pitch, low and inside.
1-1 the count to Freeman. Big swing again. Right. He wanted to make a difference with each of those 2 swings.
Right. See, now, you're just hoping that Felix is remembered. He hit the ball low and inside in the golf swing hard twice last night. Don't give him that pitch today.
Count is at 1-2 for Clint Freeman. Big pitch for Gossman. Just misses on the outside edge. It was quite a bit outside, according to Yakertech.
Because that's where Felix set up. I mean, our pitchers, the Otter pitchers, have been thrown exactly a lot of times where Felix wants the ball. And sometimes Felix over-exaggerates.
So the count's now at 2-2.
There he is now. And
Swinging strike three. Gossman walks a run in, but he is able to get himself out of the bases loaded jam. And this game is tied at 1 as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Otters due up to bat. Sinsley, Felix, and Armstrong. Bottom of the 5th inning, coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Sinsley, Felix, and Armstrong due up for the Otters. And this game is now tied after Gossman had another rough inning and this time almost gets himself out of it, but he does at least only give up 1.
Yes, I tell you what, I mean, let's be honest. He's doing a heck of a job. Even though it's 1-1, he's got himself out of some jams. He put himself in it, but he's also got himself out of it. Well, all he needs is a little help from the offense.
Samson Abernathy is starting to warm up for the Otters out in right field, so it's possible he could be taking the torch from Mr. Gossman in the next inning. But first, the Otters have to bat. Steven Sinsley due up first. First pitch he sees, he winds up on, but just fouls it back into the netting.
You notice he's got something around his neck. See how it's in the back there? The last time up, he pulled it forward. Now it dropped automatically forward. Looks like some kind of a beads.
The 0-1, Sinsley check swings. Oh, and Andy McCauley almost makes a bang-bang play at third. Got to work on the hands, Skip.
Yeah, it's true.
0-2 to Steven Sinsley. And it's a swinging strike 3 for Sinsley. He heads down on strikes for the second time today. And that is the 5th strikeout for Brendan Feldman. It'll bring up the 8-hole hitter, catcher Justin Felix. He earned himself a single back in the 3rd inning, came around to score.
Very hard hit single. And yes, he's doing it, but he's got to start hitting more consistently.
Well, he zipped it past the third baseman there on the left side.
I'm going to say you keep statistics, but I'm going to say in this homestand,
Felix actually gets hit on the, I think got him on the hand. Right there on the bone that sticks out on the bottom of your wrist. So Mandy Flagg will head out of the dugout and make sure everything's all right.
And here comes the doc out there too.
Yeah,
you know, if it was your family doctor and you went and say, you better go to the hospital and get x-rays.
Yeah, that popped the hand pretty well. Maybe it also hit the knob of his bat a little bit, but it made a pretty loud noise when it hit him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be in the hospital again tomorrow, so don't look for me tomorrow.
Pitch came home at 88 miles an hour, and he caught it in the wrist. I don't blame him for taking a second here.
Well, he's an Oriole. He's going down to first base.
Well, we know Felix is going to be on first. Andy Armstrong will head to the plate to bat. Armstrong flew out to right field, but in no way should that have been a fly out. The right fielder was just playing really far in on him.
Yes, you're right.
It should have been a base hit, really.
Right. Well, again, that's one of the things about baseball is when you pay attention to the game and study the ball players, you know their strengths and their weakness. Now, if you know the guy's got no power, play in. If he's got power, instead of playing 200 feet, play 225 feet.
And it was another time of Andy Armstrong putting the balls that he puts in play to the right side, up in the air. Felix over there on first. Third baseman comes sprinting in right as the pitch is about to be thrown. It's almost like he had a quick lapse of not being ready to go.
Well, now, if Armstrong could get one of those bunts to make the second baseman play.
Lifts the ball foul to the right side. Freeman's going to give up on it. And it'll end up on top of the roof here. Count evens up
Armstrong picks the ball up late. That's why his swings are always late, and he hits so much to right field. And Secret Weapon is beating out the drums.
The 1-1 to Armstrong. Lets this one go, and it just catches the outside edge for a called strike two.
Well, as we say, it's not where the catcher catches the ball, it's where it crosses home plate. I thought it was low, but then I analyzed the play and say, no, it was good enough. He's running. No, he's not.
A 1-2 works further outside, and the count evens up at 2-2. Tie ball game in the bottom of the fifth inning. Otters have a runner on with one out.
What a beautiful day for baseball.
Absolutely. A little toasty, but, you know, that's one of the nice things about Bosse Field, the overhead seating area. As a swinging strike three for Armstrong sits him down, and it's quickly 2 outs now for the Otters.
I'm going to say, in all honesty, Andy was still looking at center field when he swung at that ball, and that ball was way outside. But again, as I told you, if you don't follow that ball all the way back into the catcher's glove, looking at it the last you saw it, yeah, maybe it was coming across the plate, but that was before the break or the bite of it.
Felix with a big jump over there at first as Miles Gordon, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, takes ball one.
Yeah, a lot of batters, they lose sight of the ball right where the grass starts at their coverage at home plate. He's going.
The 1-0 to Gordon. Laces one down the right field line, but it's going to end up foul. Actually hit the light pole down there that's about 8 feet to the right of the home run line.
Oh, okay. You got a better view. There goes Secret Weapon.
1-1 count for Miles Gordon. He had a solid single down that right field line earlier in the game that scored a run. On the 1-1, he lets it go by high and away for ball two.
Yeah, I was surprised he only got a base hit out of that. Oh, my God. And I thought he should have got a double.
Dog days of summer here at the ballpark, and our concession manager, KJ, just had his dog come greet us here in the press box. 2-1 the count for Miles Gordon, who's trying to help the Otters keep some offense going. Takes it for ball three.
Did you ever have a dog when you were growing up?
Did.
Okay. They're great companions. I've had a dog all my life since I was born to today.
The 3-1 to Gordon. He lifts this one high and foul. Chasing after it is Rosario, and he will run out of room over there.
I was watching a cowboy movie the other day, and Ronald Reagan, former president, was highlighted. He was the star, and he argued a case for a dog. A little boy's dog was shot, and he argued the case, and it was the best thing I ever heard anyone describe how faithful a dog is. Other people can like you and dislike you, but a dog always likes you and always stays with you.
The 3-2 to Gordon. Swinging strike three. It didn't even really look like he wanted to swing, but it falls out of the glove of Hernandez. So he will live to see another pitch.
Yep. We got a break on that one.
Looked like he tried to check his swing, but then the bat fell out of one of his hands, so it went through.
Yep.
But he luckily clipped a piece of the ball. They're going to go check over there on Felix. And so Abernathy had been warming up nonstop. I thought for sure he was coming into the game. 3 pitches ago, he just sat down on the bullpen. So maybe he got all warmed up and isn't going to enter the game. I'm not sure. 3-2 again to Gordon. That one stays outside and he earns a walk.
Well, it all depends upon the pitcher. Some take 2 or 3 pitches and they're ready to throw. Others take 50 pitches. He might have thrown and said, I'm ready. Well, here comes, as you say, the most consistent, best hitter we got on the club.
And I think you can make a case for the Frontier League's hottest hitter right now because of how consistent he's been in these last few games.
Boy, it would be great. Last night you called it a home run. Why don't you do it again?
Hey, you don't even need a home run tonight. There is huge gaps in both of the alleyways here. Either one will score Felix from second.
Well, Felix is not known to be an Olympic runner. Catchers aren't.
First offering to Bierman. Thinks about coiling up on it. Leaves it be, and it's low near the ankles for ball 1.
Catchers got those shin guards on. I remember when I played, to hold up the socks, we used to use women's garters. So you had 2 pair of garters and the shin guard. You're cutting the circulation off.
1-0 stays high and away for Bierman. He's ahead in the count 2-0 now.
I'm going to bet 50 cents that if it's down the middle, he's swinging.
Felix at second, Gordon at first. Bierman thinks about going around. This one's called strike 1 on the inside edge.
Yeah, that would handcuff him. That's why he went halfway, and he realized if he hit it, it would have been off the handle.
2-1 for Bierman. Really swung hard on that one, but just fouls it back into the netting, and he goes from a 2-0 count to a 2-2 count.
He's got to get that letter high inside pitch so he could pull.
Bierman ready to go on the 2-2 with 2 outs and 2 on. Game tied at 1 run apiece.
2-2-2-2, and 2 men on.
The 2-2 to Bierman. Works inside and the count's full.
Yep.
Tell you, the parity we've seen in this game. Both pitchers get themselves out of a lot of jams. Each team with 1 run. Each team with just 3 hits. I mean, it has been a very even matchup.
Yeah, this is some game. You're right.
Otters might have won games 1 and 2 of this series, but this has been a very tight series.
Yes. This strictly is a pitcher's game today.
The full count to Bierman.
Strike 3.
Lets it go by, and it's another strikeout for Bierman. His second strikeout looking in the game. And the Otters leave 2 on in this inning. We head to the 6th inning. Still tied at 1. And into the 6th inning we go. Otters with another inning where they strand a couple of runners, and a pitching change will take place for these Evansville Otters. They're going to rely on Samson Abernathy to come in out of the pen. Last opportunity for Samson Abernathy came in the opening game of this series on Friday night. He earned the win in relief, pitching 2 full innings, giving up no runs on 1 hit right after Bryce Studeville had lost his opportunity to get the win. Instead, Abernathy picked it up in that game. This Call to the Bullpen is sponsored by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Abernathy on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That Pincer Catcher Battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Now, the last couple times we've seen Abernathy, he's looked really good. This is a game where you'd love to get 2 full innings out of him.
Well, let's hope he's effective in those 2 innings because it is a pitcher's game. 3 hits for both teams, 1 run apiece, no errors.
Well, Abernathy will start against the back half of the order, Rosario, Touche, and Hernandez. First pitch to Rosario is just a bit too far inside, ball 1.
And remember, Rosario goes after the low outside breaking pitch. Now, if you want to start him out with a fastball, okay, but come back with the curve.
The 1-0 to Rosario. Off speed, hangs in there, and is sent down the left field line, foul.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Either James or Amanda Casey to the Arlington Team Store. Amanda or James Casey to the Arlington Team Store.
One of the gateway pitchers went out, got the ball in the field, threw it into the stands. Some little young boy now has a souvenir.
1-1 the count to Jose Rosario. Abernathy sends it his way. And able to foul it just with a little tip is Jose Rosario, and he's down to the count 1-2.
And that was that low outside breaking pitch we were telling you about. He goes after it.
It's either a blessing or a curse for Abernathy. The way that he winds up and throws, you don't see that ball until it's boom right on top of you.
Yeah.
Because he turns his back almost to you and comes over the side. So by the time you see that ball, it's time to decide if you're swinging or not right then.
Strike 3.
Right down the middle, called strike 3. First batter that is faced by Abernathy gets the German-American Bank strikeout thrown at him, the 8th of the game for the Otters. Big time pitch.
Oh, yeah, we needed that first batter out.
And it's now been every single inning, all 6, that the Otters have got the leadoff man out in the inning. But it's usually with 1 out that they start to give things up. I like that Abernathy goes off speed, breaking, and then hits the fastball when it's not expected and gets the K. First offering to Cam Touche. Inside ball 1. That one looked like it was the fastball.
94?
92.
92, okay.
1-0 the count to Cam Touche, speedy outfielder. Gets wood on this one, but sends it back into the netting, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike.
Broadway Charlie. You probably never heard of him. He was a pitcher with the old Boston Red Sox, also was the pitching coach for the Red Sox. And we were down in Alabama many, many years ago, and we were scouting this pitcher.
The 1-1 to Touche just catches the outside edge for a called strike 2.
There might have been 50 or 60 scouts, general managers, scouting directors. And anyway, I was with Broadway Charlie because he and I were good friends. So the pitcher was throwing, and the batter was fouling everything off, just like a right-hand pitcher batting left-handed, fouling off third base. And then he gave an off-speed pitch down at the ballpark. And he said,
the 1-2 to Touche near the ankles, ball 2.
And he said, I'll never forget it. If you're throwing the ball 90 miles an hour and the guy can't catch up to you because he's fouling the balls up, why do you give him a pitch he can hit? Keep throwing the pitch he can hit. And That's good advice.
The 2-2. This one sent bouncing towards Armstrong. He makes a nice play over to first just in the nick of time.
I tell you
We're out
what, those
two.
runners are getting down there, but you got the Hoover vacuum cleaner at shortstop. That's why he's got to play every day at short.
Well, and good work from Armstrong to really charge that ball because that thing died in the infield.
Right. He's got good range, he's got good soft hands, and he's got a good strong arm.
It'll bring up the catcher, Alex Hernandez, who's 0 for 2 on the game, a ground out and a foul out. His foul out came with the bases loaded and 1 out. First pitch he sees stays just a bit high for ball 1.
I was going to say 92. It's 91.
And I think Abernathy's 88, 89 fastball that he controls a little bit better almost works better than his really quick one.
Wow. That was
but that
93.
time he steams one to the high inside corner and proves me wrong.
And I call it 93.
Good
You
work,
know,
Sampson.
When we were with the Padres, we never used the speed gun. We did our own calculating like now.
The 1-1 to Hernandez. This one's popped up towards the shallow right field side, and it plays off the arm of Steven Sinsley, almost like he just didn't realize it was there all of a sudden. As soon as he turned to look at the ball, the sun was in his eyes, and seems to be what he's telling J.R. Davis is, I just lost it. And getting a base hit because of it is Alex Hernandez.
Well, I think it was a base hit. You know, I mean, he may have dropped it, but again.
Tough play to make.
Yes.
Looking over the shoulder in the sun. It'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, Abdil Diaz. 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout. He came around to score the lone run for the Grizzlies thus far.
Okay, we got 2 outs out there, so we got to keep the ball in the ballpark.
Abernathy with a glance towards first. And here comes the opening pitch to Diaz. Way outside. Felix just barely keeps it in front of him. And they will take a sec to go over their signs. That's why Felix called the umpire to come out with him, so it's not counted as a mound visit. But they must have talked about more than just signs because they're going to write it down as a mound visit.
He's giving a sign. The umpire's saying that counts.
Yep. As soon as he reached for his pocketbook, I knew something other than signs was talked about.
Right.
But that's not a bad thing. Get yourself the right strategy to get out of this inning. The 1-0 to Diaz stays high.
See, Abernathy, I'm speaking for myself. He relies on his fastball of overthrowing.
The 2-0 just misses on the inside edge.
We can't afford another runner.
And it's a 3-0 count now. The next man up would be the leadoff man, Andrew Pinner, who can do damage at just about any time. Abernathy ready on the 3-0. Misses to the inside, gets away from Felix.
No harm done because it's ball 4. And the runner would have been going to second base anyway, so there's no harm done.
Runners at first and second now with 2 outs, and we head to the top of the order where Andrew Pinner makes his way to the box.
Is Max coming out?
Not this time.
Okay.
So far, Pinner is 0 for 3. A flyout, a strikeout, and a ground out.
Now, I'm going to give an observation. You have seen him more than I. But Abernathy is 2 different pitchers. One when he warms up with no one on base, and one when he's working out of a stretch.
First chance to Pinner, called strike 1, and it's because he can't take that time to wind way up.
Exactly. Remember Hernandez with the Dodgers that used to look up at the sky before he released the ball?
The 0-1 from Abernathy. Just catches the inside edge. That's a really generous call.
Right.
Now, this is a battle now that Abernathy's been gifted a strike. He's got to win this battle.
Yeah, a high fastball, middle high.
The 0-2 to Andrew Pinner. Misses low and maybe a bit away as well. Ball 1.
Batters with 2 strikes for some reason get nervous, and that high pitch they love to go after. Now that doesn't say everyone does, but the majority.
The 1-2. Pinner right back up the middle. Davis will play it off the ground over to first in time.
Well, he got himself out of the jam.
And that is how the inning ends. We head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Still tied at 1 here from Bossy. And we're ready for the bottom half of the 6th inning. And, Abernathy just fit himself perfectly into what's happened the rest of this game. A pitcher gives up a little something in the beginning or little middle pieces of the inning, but gets himself out of it, keeps this game tied. This has been a fun pitcher's duel to watch.
Well, for you it may be fun. For me, my heart, which is programmed to go 60 beats a minute, is now up to 80 beats a minute. So,
if nothing else, it's proving that these pitchers can work themselves out of binds, and that can be a very, very valuable skill come July and August.
I'll agree with you. That's why fans love games that there's a lot of home runs. They don't like well-pitched games.
Carson Cooper is going to come out of the bullpen for Gateway. Big guy, 6'2", 230, out of Alabama. And he will be the one to try to keep this game even on the Gateway side of things. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Cupo on the mound, Hernandez behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000.
Well, here's a guy that could put it over that fence with ease. But the fastball down the middle, he's got to stride forward and put his body, his hips, into the pitch instead of leaning back on his hips and dropping his shoulder and pop flying.
Well, Carson Cooper has retired 10 of the first 12 batters he's faced in every outing he has.
Oh,
not this time. Man, Baez really got a hold of that.
Well, that's because he did what I just told him to do. Take your stride and get your full swing in. That way your body's going forward instead of, backing up and hitting off your back hip.
Well, and I call him Bierman on accident because he got his bat around so quick.
Right.
That's not something we usually see from Baez.
Okay, now here comes Dakota. Mom, Dakota needs your help. That's what, honestly, let's be honest. Dakota needs some help. Get the rosary beads out It'd be great if he gets a double and scores the winning run.
Ball works inside. Carson Cooper is usually really good on the mounds.
Yeah, Dakota's bat has been very slow lately. Like he's not sure of when to swing.
Well, this is a pitcher that Phillips struck out against last week. Running towards second is Baez.
He's
Close
out.
play. Safe.
Oh!
Stolen base 236 of that big man's career.
And yet the ball beat him.
Yeah.
The ball was there before he reached the base.
But it did look like he slid to the outside part of the bag, and that gave him just enough spacing to beat it there.
You probably never heard of a guy named George Case. Washington Senators, going back in the early 1900s, was known for stealing second, bypassing second, and reaching with his arm, and that's how he got away.
Hefty swing from Phillips has him down 2-1.
Right, that was his pitch. But if you notice how he abbreviated that swing, it wasn't a full swing. Come on, Dakota, we need you. Now I'll settle with a base hit so Baez scores.
The 2-1 for Phillips. Big swing yet again, was just a little bit underneath it, and the count's at 2-2.
And again, a lazy late swing.
Following Phillips is McNamee, Davis, and Sinsley in this inning. McNamee, another bat that could quickly change this game.
You see the right fielder putting that red-orange glove up into his eyes? That must be strong out there.
Center and right field are really swallowed in sunlight now.
Yeah.
The 2-2 to Phillips. Swinging, strike three, and it's his third strikeout of the game. There is something about these Grizzlies and their relationship with Dakota Phillips. They always seem to find a way to strike this guy out.
Okay, it's up to Big Bat now.
Elijah McNamee, who's 1 for 2 in the game, a single back in the fourth inning, trying to replicate it here. First pitch to him. Low outside, good stop by Hernandez.
I don't know if you noticed the third baseman. He was up on the grass, and then all of a sudden at the last minute he backtracked because he must have looked at Elijah not being in a bunting area, so he just changed his mind.
We'll see, he's pacing forward now.
Yeah, he'll probably backtrack after the windup or after the stretch. See him, there he goes. See?
The 1-0 to McNamee. Way inside, about
Yep.
got him in the hands.
Yeah, the other day, Rosario played third base.
Yeah, he's over there yet again today.
Yep.
Very good defensive third baseman. Has good range over there. The 2-1 to McNamee. Again inside.
Inside ball three.
McNamee with a big deep breath and digs back in. Looking to make this a 2-hit outing for him. Baez had a huge lead, was trying to get into the head of Kupo up there.
He did, and I'm thinking, don't steal, don't give up an out. He could easily attempt to steal.
The 3-0 to McNamee. He swings at what probably would have been ball four, a little bit high. Would have been a so-so call.
Well, I've said it all year. I've watched Andy for 10 years. Andy allows his batters to swing on a 3-0 count. I think it's a bad move. And I'm not criticizing Andy. I'm just saying the batters are always assuming on a 3-0 the pitch is going to be a fastball down the middle. So they're already swinging before the pitcher releases it. Instead of ball four, it'll be 3-1.
3-1 to Mac, and he swings again. Now he's
Right.
looking at a full count. Competitive pitch on that last one. 89 mile an hour.
2,447.
Wow, they just announced attendance here. And just about 2,500 on a Sunday
Right.
evening.
We've had over 2,000 the last several games.
Thank you, Evansville, for turning out
Yeah.
once again. The 3-2 to McNamee. Pushes it out towards right field, but it is going to be foul. Not by too much, though. Maybe 8-10 feet.
Well, Mac's got to defend this home plate.
That was a competitive two-strike approach there, just trying to push it down the line. So he'll take a quick little lap, and he's ready for the 3-2 yet again.
Yeah.
Baez out there at second. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. We're still tied at 1.
You know, I'd like to finish up something I started on a 3-0 count after this pitch.
The 3-2 to McNamee. Right back up the middle. Tough play for Diaz, who will throw it to first, get 1 out, but Baez does advance to third.
What I was going to say, Matthew, is I have yet in 10 years to see any Otter get a hit on a 3-0 count. So if the odds are against you, I'd say to every batter, take the pitch. Don't swing. I don't care if it's down the middle. Don't swing.
It's now the second baseman, J.R. Davis, who makes his way in. 2 groundouts so far to his day. And again, the first pitch of an at-bat is down and away, and Hernandez has to go diving after it.
Yeah, I don't know if Baez could have scored if it got by the catcher anyway. It wouldn't have been that far away.
The 1-0 to Davis. Lifts it up and foul. The catcher, Hernandez, made a run over there, but it didn't make its way out of play. So the count now sits at 1-1. Davis trying to make something happen in this at-bat before he has to get defensive in there. Kupo readies himself on the mound. And the 1-1 to Davis. Works high for ball 2.
Baez better watch it the way he strolls back to that bag. If I was a catcher, I'd throw it down and pick him off because he's not paying attention.
The 2-1 to Davis. He half swings. They check on him. No, he did not. And the count goes to 3-1. So Davis way ahead in the count now.
Now, this is not an automatic strike, so don't be anticipating and swinging at a ball 4.
The 3-1 to Davis. Lifts it high and foul, and the count is at full. Take a quick look at the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard. In the top of the 9th inning, Schaumburg leads Washington 5-3. So if the Otters could come and find some late inning runs here and get a win, they could have sole possession of first this evening. New York with a 12-8 win at New Jersey. Florence beats Windy City 9-4, and they take the series over a good Windy City team.
Yeah.
A surprise there. The full count pitch to Davis. He pushes it out towards the right side. Foul yet again.
Protect that plate. Protect that plate.
Couple more finals for you. Lake Erie defeats Joliet 6-5 and ends the Slammers' 6-game winning streak.
How's Empire State doing?
Well, they had their game postponed due to rain in the area up there, so they can't lose game 26 today. The 3-2 stays a bit high.
Right.
And Davis is going to earn a free base. That was a really close pitch to take.
I know it. I was waiting for the umpire to give the fist. There's here comes the he's looking down the bullpen, but there's nobody there. He's bringing in the catcher, the third baseman, though.
So they will have a chat up there while we finish up our Fox Sports scoreboard. Sussex defeats Trois-Rivières 7-4. They get the series win on the road at Trois-Rivières. That's a big series win for Sussex County to keep them in the top 4 over there in the East Division. Quebec and Tri-City. That has been a great series all weekend long, despite Quebec getting both of the first 2 wins. They're tied at 7 in the 8th inning. A battle of 2 of the best in the East Division.
How's Schaumburg doing?
Schaumburg is still up 2 at Washington in the 9th inning.
So if we were to lose and Washington was to lose, there might be a three-way first place.
Schaumburg would still likely, Schaumburg would still be a full game back.
Oh, well, okay.
So we would be tied with Washington if we lost and they lost and a Schaumburg win. We'd still be tied, and there'd be a game between. It's crazy. This Gateway team came into this weekend 3rd, but the 2 losses have them down in 6th.
Oh, okay.
Crazy the amount you can move with how packed this West Division is. Steven Sinsley due up. 2 strikeouts so far on his line today, and he starts with a called strike 1 on the high edge. Oh, 1 the count. Runners on the corners for the Otters. Sit over the head of the shortstop. A run's going to score.
That's it.
Rounding second is Davis. An RBI single for the first baseman, Steven Sinsley, and the Otters take the lead.
And I tell you what, earlier in the season, he was hitting a few of those balls exactly in that area, but hasn't been lately. But today he came through with that shot. That puts the Otters up 2-1.
That is a really big hit.
Oh, yes.
And now someone who has been pretty good in this game thus far, Justin Felix heads to the plate. A single and a hit by pitch so far. He came around to score the first run of the game for the Otters. Felix digs in.
Well, we got the bases on first and third again.
Carson Cooper readies himself on the mound, and here comes the opening pitch to Felix. Letter high, but it's left alone for ball 1. Don't forget that the Otters head to Schaumburg next. Quick mini-series, just a Tuesday and Wednesday 2-game set. But that is going to be a couple of really fun games. The pitching matchups look really enjoyable. The 1-0 to Felix. Hefty swing, and the count evens.
How come only 2-game series? Why not 3?
So because the Otters and Grizzlies, these Grizzlies, are going to play on July 4th, that Monday, to make that a 4-game set, both the Grizzlies and the Otters had to give up a game somewhere else in the season.
Oh.
This is the one we're giving up.
Oh.
I believe that Gateway was giving up one against Florence later in the year, but that's the trade-off in order to play the 4-game set at Gateway.
Okay.
The 1-1 to Felix. Off speed, misses high. Man, if Kupo gets a little more bite, it catches that corner.
You know, back in 1956, on July 4th, the Evansville Braves were off. And that's when I invited my wife to go to the amphitheater to watch Jimmy and Tommy Dorsey. It ended up, here we are now, over 65 years of marriage. I made the right choice.
After fouling one back into the netting, Felix is looking at a 2-2 count with 2 outs and 2 on. Big opportunity for him to snag an RBI here.
Yeah, if he can get one exactly where Sinsley got it to left center, there might be 2 runs scoring.
The 2-2 to Felix. That one's low, and it gets past the catcher. Davis coming home, and he's home with another run, and the Otters lead by 2. Costly error from Carson Cooper.
Now, how they rule in that wild pitch or fastball? To me, that's
probably a wild pitch. The way it spiked into the ground.
Right. You need to know when you make that report at the end of the day. Wild pitch. Good call.
So Davis gets home on the wild pitch. Dinsley reaches second. And Justin Felix is looking at a full count pitch now. And it's on its way to Felix. Swinging strike 3. Man, that makes that wild pitch all the more important. Otters lead by 2 as we head to the 7th inning. 3rd straight night. We've got a great one for you here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Don't go anywhere. Want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Old National Bank, your bank for Evansville, your bank for life. Samson Abernathy returns to the mounds for the Otters. Totally fine with that. I thought he was really efficient in that last half inning, worked around a two-out base hit and was able to get out of the inning. Of course, I'm not the manager. I'm the broadcaster. There's a good reason for that. I'd have a man at least stretching, just playing catch with the catcher down there, just in case.
Well, I want to tell you, yes, you're not the manager, but you do a heck of a good job of diagnosing the play and making calls too. You know, like should you steal, and you're deciding yes or no. And
Well, see, I love the pitching of Samson Abernathy. I think he challenges batters really well. The problem is sometimes when he challenges the batters, they've taken advantage of him, and that's what scares me in this.
well, you know, the San Diego Padres during my period of time with them had one of the greatest relief pitchers in baseball in Goose Gossage. Goose was a flamethrower. They didn't register 100 miles an hour, but he was being a 96 to 97. And Goose just relied on that fastball. And I tell you what, we lost several games because, yes, Goose.
0-1, chopping towards Armstrong at short, makes it on 2 hops. Good transfer to his throwing arm and makes the play in time.
I don't care how hard you throw that ball, you throw it down the middle, and someone makes contact, it's bye-bye, baby. There was a pitcher for the Cubs that did the same thing by the name of Lee, a 100-mile-an-hour pitcher. If you're going to throw it down the middle, somebody's going to unload. So that's what, in essence, that's what you're saying about Abernathy, relying on this 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Trevor Achenbaugh up next. And I think the thing that Abernathy's most guilty of is pitches like that, competitive pitches that batters won't go for, and he finds himself down 2-0, 3-0 and counts, and that's when he has to attack the zone a little bit. That's when he gets punished.
Okay.
When he gets himself down and counts.
Okay.
When he starts off with called strike ones or swinging strike ones, he usually controls the at-bat really well.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was his curveball then.
The 1-0 works towards the inside edge. He gets a competitive swinging strike one.
Yep. Now that was what, 92? Now they changed it to 90. What difference does it make? 92, 90? It doesn't make no difference. If your bat is at 85, you're 5 to 7 miles behind.
The 1-1 misses a bit low. 2-1. Abernathy taking his time before the 2-1 to Trevor Achenbaugh.
Pretty good hitter. Makes good contact.
Absolutely. He's 1 for 3 in this game with a hard hit single. Comes up empty-handed on this swing. Got caught on the off speed.
84-mile-an-hour curveball.
And it was a deceptive curveball. It looked like the changeup almost, and then it dove.
Right. That's when the bite takes over.
Yeah. The 2-2 to Trevor Achenbaugh. This one is just barely fouled back into the netting. He had to take a step towards it to foul it off.
The Padres had a pitcher years and years ago. He passed away last year. Booker used to throw 100 miles an hour. He had the best forkball there was, but the forkball would descend about a foot before home plate, so it was never a strike. It was always a ball. But what a pitch. If he just learned to get it over, he would have been one of the best.
The 2-2 to Achenbaugh. Works
Strike
high
3.
inside, and it's a called strike 3. Achenbaugh can't believe it. He lets David Bailey here behind home plate, and Bailey waves him off. Called strike 3 is the second German American Bank strikeout for Samson Abernathy. And 2 up, 2 down as the DH, Peter Zimmerman, makes his way to the plate. Abernathy has his sign. And here comes the opening pitch to Peter Zimmerman. High inside ball 1.
That was a curveball 82, but he released it too early. It had no bite at all. He didn't bring the curtain. He didn't pull the curtain fast enough.
I love having the center field camera angle to watch Abernathy's pitch, to see what goes on behind his body before he throws some of these pitches. Because the ball stays really tucked into his side before he lets the arm extend at the last second to get all of the speed into his arm. It's kind of fun to watch the differences between his pitching style and a lot of other pitchers. And you really only get to see it from this back angle. 1-1 count to Zimmerman. That misses just on the outside edge. 2-1 to Zimmerman. If he gets on, the first baseman Clint Freeman follows, and that is a 1-2 punch to be reckoned with.
See, now you watch the pitcher. I always try to watch the catcher, see where Felix is giving the signs. I don't know what the signs are, but the catchers was always 1 fastball, 2 curve, 3 slider, 4 change.
Now they throw so many up there to try to scramble it.
Yes. See, but he gives them so fast, I don't see. There it goes 2. Okay.
That's one of the first times I've ever seen him just lay one sign down. The 3-1. And check swing goes off the bat of Zimmerman. Almost all the way to first base, that ball rolls. And the count's full.
Yeah, those who are watching through Flow Baseball, they can watch what we're talking about. You're watching the pitcher and I'm watching the catcher. And again, it's interesting. Besides watching the ball game, you're watching certain things.
Well, and it's something we can't see in a usual press box, is the view coming towards us.
Right.
The 3-2 to Zimmerman.
Strike 3.
Right down the middle, called strike 3. Big German American Bank strikeout for Abernathy after 6.5. Otters lead by 2. Man, the pitching just keeps on going. We've got the bottom of the 7th coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. And we are ready for the bottom half of the 7th inning. A pitching change needed for these Gateway Grizzlies. They're going to ask John Murphy to make an appearance out of the bullpen for him. Murphy is a guy who will kind of challenge some of these hitters. Excited to see what he can do in his 13th appearance this year, though he does have a couple losses on the record. His ERA is sub 1.0. A tough guy to go up against. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. And it's Murphy on the mound. Hernandez behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000.
Now, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's one of the reasons I don't believe in statistics. You say he's got a losing record, but he's got a tremendous ERA. We don't know the circumstances. So you look at the record, but it don't tell the story.
John Murphy is a guy who played 4 years at the University of Maryland. Then he ended up playing a couple years with the United Shore Professional Baseball League before finding his way to the Frontier League. Pitched with Washington a little bit and now has been brought to Gateway for a player to be named later back there in last July. First offering to Armstrong is zoomed to the right side and foul. And it's quickly an 0-1 count. I'll just take one. 0-1 the count to Andy Armstrong. Hefty swing, and the count is now 0-2. Armstrong is 0-2 on the day thus far, but man, he should have had a base hit in one of his solid contacts earlier in the game. Now he's looking at potentially a third strikeout if he doesn't get defensive in there.
Yeah, notice how third baseman.
Oh, boy.
The third baseman went back. He moved back into his normal position. But when Andy got the first two strikes, he was up on the grass, knowing, see, now that's a ball player that pays attention to what the ball players did before.
And I think it also shows that Armstrong has earned the respect of third basemen in this league.
Exactly.
Good defensive swing there on a pitch that might have been called strike on the high inside corner. With as unpredictable as the home plate umpire David Bailey's been tonight, that's a pitch you have to swing at on 0-2.
Right. But again, that's not taking advantage of mistakes. It's just taking advantage of knowing the opposing ball player.
Jake Polancic warming up for the Otters in the pen, throwing about one warm-up pitch per real pitch in the game. The 1-2 to Armstrong, breaks to the outside, and the count evens up.
So we got a 2-2 count. I'd like to see Armstrong get on a base hit or walk, and then see what Andy does with Gordon being the leadoff hitter.
It changes so much having Gordon at the top of that lineup now.
It does.
I mean, it's such a new, fresh look.
Well, Gordy did bat first last year.
Yeah. I just mean for this year, it's a nice, fresh look.
No, I know that. But I'm just saying that batting first is not new to him, is what I'm trying to say.
Gary Mattis will give you the speed, but Miles Gordon might give you the base hit that is vital in this stage. 2-2 to Andy Armstrong. Right
Strike
down the
three.
middle. He's headed to the dugout looking at a strike three, his second strikeout of the game.
I hate to say it, Andy, but you're not paying attention to where the ball is. His eyes were still looking in center field. He didn't follow that ball, which was a good strike.
That'll bring up the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, who's 1 for 2 with an RBI single, a walk, and a ground out to the first baseman. The Canadian digs in, ready for his first offering.
All these pitchers have to throw, even though they're not pitching today or tomorrow and all, but they still have to throw every day. What would be a good experiment would have them do their normal pitching on the field, not in the bullpen, but have the catcher throw in with the batter, and the batter takes 20 pitches, and he has to record where what pitch was. Now he's telling the pitcher is getting his warm-ups. The batter is now learning where he's not following the pitch. So it's a two-way street of practicing.
The 2-0 to Gordon works inside again, and he's one pitch away from a 4-pitch walk.
Right. That's what you always do. You try to utilize 2 or 3 practices within one.
Help me, help you.
Exactly.
3-0 to Miles Gordon, looking to get his second walk of the day. Pitch on the way, and that one catches the high outside corner for a called strike one.
Right. Because now I'm making an observation. You could correct me, but it seems like in the last 2 weeks we've been striking out an awful lot. Before we were very aggressive. Well, even though we are aggressive, we're swinging and missing. Some of our strikeouts have been called strikeouts.
Yeah, there are a couple of batters on this team. I won't beat around the bush on it, that like to challenge pitchers. When they're down in a 2-strike count, they try to challenge the pitcher to put it in the zone. And
yes,
recently some of these pitchers have been doing it.
I don't know if you remember a guy named Richie I was going to say Ashburn. Now I can't think of his name. Richie. Anyway, he was the center fielder for the Philadelphia Phillies. Richie Ashburn. Now, he was the center fielder for the Phillies. He could foul off all the bad pitches when he had 2 strikes until he got his pitch. But he had that unique knack of being able to foul pitches off.
Full count to Miles Gordon with 1 out. Quickly,
Richie Ashburn. That's who it was.
the 3-2.
Strike
Just
3.
catches the low edge of the
Strike
zone.
3.
He doesn't like the count, but
It was a
call, but he's
strike.
going to have to walk back anyway.
But that was a good strike. You know,
Back-to-back strikeouts for these Otters, and it brings up the designated hitter, Zach Bierman.
Richie Ashburn was an announcer, radio, TV for the Phillies, besides being an outstanding player at one time. And one of the things the scouts do, we may be watching the ball game. Say, if I was sitting down here in the stands, I'd have the radio in my ear listening to you, and that's one of the things. And so one night, Richie Ashburn says, "Oh, so-and-so generally steals on the second pitch. He allows the batter the first pitch, he steals on the second." Well, would you believe the next morning, I was on the phone to Dick Williams, our manager. I said, "Hey, here's what I just picked up from Richie Ashburn."
Bierman pushes one to the left side, but it looks like it is going to dribble or fly foul, and it does. Bounces into the parking lot. 0-2 quickly for Bierman.
Yeah, so here's what you pick up. I mean, just a little thing like that. If he swings, he steals on the second pitch.
2 outs, nobody on. Zach Bierman trying to extend the inning for the Otters. Murphy delivers. Outside ball 1. He tried to overload that pitch.
Another quick one. I was sent to Boston to make a trade. Tony Armas, you probably never heard of him. He was a good center fielder for Oakland when my brother managed Oakland. So we were making a trade for Armas. And so I get to the ballpark, and of course I talked to Lou Gorman, the general manager.
1-2. Bierman shoots it out towards right field. Bernard on the chase, and it's off the wall. There goes Bierman, and it's a stand-up double.
Yep.
And a Deerhead double-decker double extends Bierman's hitting streak just when it looked like he might not get one. He says, "Oh, no worries. I got you."
Yeah. Well, anyway, I get there, and Armas, the center fielder, is playing left field. So I watched the game, and next night I'm having dinner with the general manager. I said, "How come he's playing left field, not center?" "Oh, we were experimenting." I said, "Oh, okay." Well, that night he hits a ground ball and he hobbles down to first base. So now it's the next night having dinner again. I said, "Lou, what's wrong?" He hobbled. "Oh, it was nothing. It probably a little rock in the field or something." Well, so he's in the second year of a $500 a year contract. So anyway, that night I'm having, again, Lou says, "Oh, don't worry about it." So next night, Joe Castigliano is a radio TV broadcaster for the Red Sox.
0-1 for Baez, and he falls down 0-2 in the count now.
And Tony Armas hits a ground ball in the infield. He hobbles down. And he said, Tony hasn't gotten rid of that injury since spring training. So I called my brother and said, "Don't make the trade. They're unloading an injured ball player on us." Anyway, what I'm trying to say in essence is simply this. People listen to you, and that's how they get a lot of information.
The 0-2, Baez check swings and keeps it foul. Well, Schaumburg managers, if you're listening for information about these guys for this weekly series, don't worry about that Bierman guy. He can't hit the ball. You can throw it down the middle and he'll strike out. Don't worry about him.
That's a good observation.
Yeah.
He's probably the worst hitter on the team.
Oh, yeah. 0-2 to Baez. 2 outs and a runner on second, trying to extend this 7th inning and potentially extend the Otters' lead.
Yeah. Schaumburg, if I was pitching against Bierman, I'd throw letter high inside, because That's his weakness. Let her high inside pitch. He's very slow with his bat.
Low inside, ball one.
You know,
And
maybe somebody listening to that.
Baez looking at a 1-2 count now with 2 outs and a runner on second in the form of Zach Bierman, who had a solid double. Pitch stays high, and Baez has worked himself out to a 2-2.
Yep. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, a runner on second. And a 2-run lead.
Baez yanked a base hit into left his last time up.
He drilled one.
The 2-2 to Baez. Off speed, and he gets way underneath it. Slams the bat down, and it's going to be caught by the center fielder, Touche, for out number 3.
And Baez did what I said he does. He didn't stride. He swung at with his back or shoulder dipped.
And that'll result in the fly balls just like that. Otters strand a runner at second. We head to the 8th inning. The Otters still leading by 2. Want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball and Flow Sports is presented by Bud Light. And I want to introduce you to the new man on the mound for the Otters. It'll be the right-handed arm of Jake Polancic, who has been fun to watch this year. Can really take advantage of some opposing hitters when he has his stuff going the right way. His last appearance was last night, where he gave up no runs on 1 hit, striking out 2 in his 1 inning of work. He'll look to keep it going tonight. As this call to the bullpen is presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Polancic on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Polancic was good last night. Let's see if he can do it again tonight.
Well, I was surprised in Abernathy doing as well as he did in his appearance tonight. And let's hope this guy here continues the trend.
When Abernathy or sometimes Polancic does it too, is that earlier reliever guy, like a 6th, 7th inning guy. It is so good to see him get 2 solid innings in. We got exactly that from Abernathy tonight.
Yeah.
So
and this is what, the 8th inning?
Yeah, the 8th inning man tonight's going to be Jake Polancic. And he starts off with a really competitive swinging strike 1.
And last night, the leading relief pitcher got another save. So
Yeah.
he could come in today again.
He could get number 10 on the year.
Right. You know everything.
0-1 fouled back into the netting, and just like that, Polancic has himself in the position to pick a strikeout here to start off. Polancic's put together quite the professional resume, and I didn't even really realize it. Last night was his 80th game pitch. He's put together quite a few games in this short career of his thus far.
Yeah.
Over 120 strikeouts as well. And he causes some high contact here to the left side. Phillips giving chase in foul territory and almost stumbles as he brings it in.
Yeah.
Well, I can speak from experience. The ground gets really uneven over there in some little places. There are some little dips where the water likes to gather, and it forces that ground to get a little uneven. Thankful that he hasn't hurt himself falling over there.
You're right. That's where you break ankles, because your balance. That's why I'm taking therapy, for my balance. The other day I learned how to walk with a cane. I'm supposed to have a cane every day I walk.
Well, the foul out from Freeman brings up Jose Rosario, who is 0 for 2 with a walk and 2 strikeouts.
Now, if you remember, low and outside. Oh, my
Pitch goes
God.
way behind. Actually, it ends up right back at Plancic.
Yes. And they want that ball, that ricocheted off the wall.
Must have had the automatic ball retrieval system on because it came right back to him like a yo-yo. Ball 1, by the way.
And I'm going to say, throw him low and outside. Here he threw him behind him. You don't remember Ron Doran. Ron Doran was a pitcher for the Yankees and the California Angels. And he told me this. This is not going from what I heard, read. This is coming from Ron himself. I was scouting for the Angels at the time. And Ron Doran would come in as a reliever, and the first pitch he'd throw up into the netting. His first 3 or 4 pitches were wide as can be. And he deliberately did that to put fear into the batter.
The 3-0 to Rosario catches the low outside corner.
He wanted the batter to say, my God, this guy's wild. I better swing and get out of here. That was his repertoire for success. Ron Doran.
The 3-1 from Plancic.
Strike 2.
Catches the outside edge, and it's a full count just like that.
Yeah.
Hey, props to Plancic. He attacked that low outside corner really well, back-to-back pitches, and Rosario just didn't bite.
Well, wasn't it Rosario that fouled about 10 pitches the other night?
The 3-2, Rosario into center field. Gordon retreating a couple steps and hauls it in.
That's a great one. That was hit pretty solidly.
Well, Gordon right away took a step in and then realized I don't have to go in and glided to his left a little bit and pulled it in.
Right.
So with 2 down and no one on, the center fielder Cam Touche is ready next. Touche thus far is 0 for 2, getting hit by a pitch in the second. Since then, a fly out and a ground out. Hails from Columbia, Illinois. First offering to Touche shows bunt. And it's a called strike 1. Don't forget that the Otters hit the road after this game for a 2-game set back home next Friday night. 0-1 to Touche works inside again, count even in 1-1.
So you guys will be leaving Tuesday morning to go
Tuesday
to
morning.
Schaumburg.
Schaumburg Tuesday and Wednesday, right back after that one. And Lake Erie comes to town next weekend for a Friday through Sunday series. Oh, that's a Lake Erie team that these Otters swept a couple weeks ago. They'd love another sweep next weekend. 1-1, big swing from Touche, comes up empty-handed. So the count at 1-2 for Cam Touche. Plancic readies and fires at home. Swinging, strike 3. That's what Plancic do. 3 up, 3 down. We head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Otters still lead by 2. Reed Hayes checking into the game for the Gateway Grizzlies. 6'2", 190 out of Johnson City, Tennessee. Last played in the American Association for the Gold Eyes. And he will look to keep the Otters at bay. Cannot give up any additional runs. Has to keep the Grizzlies within 2 because one of the game's best closers is ready to come in for the Otters on the other side. This call to the bullpen for the Grizzlies is brought to you by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. It's Hayes on the mound, Hernandez behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000.
I played in Johnson City, Tennessee, in the Appy League. I could go in there. If I had $1 million, I couldn't buy a hit. You know, there's certain cities, ball players, all they got to do is step up the home plate, and they're automatically guaranteed a base hit. And then you go to some other city, no matter what, you can't buy a hit.
Well, Reed Hayes, who just checked in on the mound, was drafted 2 separate times in 2015 in the 28th round by Kansas City and in 2017 in the 13th round by Baltimore. Ended up
signing with Baltimore?
Playing a little bit of single A there with the Baltimore system before ending up in Indy ball with the American Association last year. Played 1 year at Vanderbilt as a 2-way player in college.
Really? What besides pitching?
Just says 2-way player for me.
Player. You know, there's so many of them. And when you sign them, you just say.
Well, in college, you're almost, especially at the Division II and lower level, you're almost expected to be a 2-way.
Right.
Hefty swing from Phillips has him down 0-2 in the count. He's 1 pitch away from potentially having a second 4-strikeout game against these Gateway Grizzlies. They have his number this year.
I signed #1 draft by the Padres, who was the college player of the year.
0-2 to Phillips. Thinks about going. Checks his swing.
When he played with University of Miami. He was a pitcher outfielder. We drafted him and signed him as a pitcher. He did make AAA, but then playing for Vegas, he got involved with the gambling, and that was the end of him.
The 1-2. Phillips pushes it out towards the left side and foul. Count remains 1-2.
We lost several of our ball players, became dealers. They weren't gamblers, they were employees, they were dealers.
Total attendance this weekend, right about 7,000. Great Friday, Saturday, Sunday series here at Bosse Field.
Yeah, I think it was 2,000 last night, 2,000 tonight.
The 1-2 to Phillips cracks the bat right back up the middle. Going to be a tough play for Archambault. The diving snag from Freeman results in an out there at first for Phillips. He did break the bat. There went some more lumber. Grab your new lumber at our friends at Niehaus Lumber. And with 1 down now, quickly Elijah McNamee heads to the plate. McNamee 1 for 3 with a single in the 4th, but then a fly out and a ground out as well. So his hit was sharply hit. It was a quality hit. So
well, third base was playing him deep. Rosario.
McNamee steps in, ready for the opening pitch of this at-bat.
I would drag one down third.
Hayes sends it his way, high inside, and it's a called strike 1. McNamee.
Did you see where his head was? He was still looking over here when the ball. You got to follow the pitch.
The 0-1.
Now that one there, his head went right down to see where it was.
Yeah, yes. The breaking pitch stayed inside. 1-1 count to Elijah McNamee with 1 out, nobody on. McNamee trying to keep this inning rolling. Lazy swing on the top. Looked like he just kind of decided he wanted to swing a bit late, unfortunately.
At the last minute.
Yeah.
Yes.
But McNamee is a pretty good 2-strike hitter. Finds a way to stay at least defensive in there, and that's what he's going to have to do now on the 1-2. First offering clips it, and it was not caught by Hernandez, so he'll live to see another pitch. There's your view at him down there. Logan Sawyer the Frontier League's best closer. Going to try for save number 10 if this game stays where it's at.
He's got to be an all-star player. He's
Absolutely.
got to be all-star.
It has been exceptional to watch him bounce back from his Tommy Johns a couple of years ago.
Right.
I mean, he has been so good in this last year. 1-2 to McNamee. Right back up the middle. Watch out. That's a 2-hit game for Elijah McNamee. And that is now 4 straight games he has multi-hit outings in.
Really?
He's found a way to just really hit the ball well. So with 1 out and 1 on, the second baseman, J.R. Davis, makes his way to the plate. He scored in that 6th inning after walking, and then once he was on third, he scored on a wild pitch. For a second, it felt like that was going to be the deciding run. The Otters were able to add one more just in case. The first pitch to Davis works way inside near the elbow. For ball 1. Just a runner on first with 1 out. Davis has got to make sure he avoids the double play here. 1-0 gets hit sharply to the left side. Rosario, quick play to second for 1. Has to tag the man, and because of it, Davis is going to reach first safely on the fielder's choice.
But give that second baseman credit. He knew he didn't have the out on the tag, on the coverage of the bag, so he made the tag himself. Now, he could have executed the throw, and the runner on second would be safe.
Now,
give him credit for a heads-up playing.
The difficulty behind having a setup man and a closer with 1 number difference is I couldn't see the number past Brady Tedesco and just assumed it was Logan Sawyer. It's actually Joe Riley warming up out there in the pen. Sawyer has pitched the last 2 nights in a row, so maybe they don't want him tonight.
Riley, it's warming up?
It's Joe Riley out there. One's 24 and one's 34, and Brady Tedesco is in front of that left letter or number, so I couldn't tell which one it was.
Well, whoever it is, let's hope he can get him out.
0-1 the count to Steven Sinsley. Big lead for Davis over there at first, by the way. Sinsley launches one to right field. You might as well say goodbye to that one. Picnic, watch out. That one's coming to you. A 2-run home run for Steven Sinsley. He knew that one right out of the box.
And we needed those runs.
More importantly, he needed a hit like that to get him back on the right side of things.
Right.
A 2-run home run has put the Otters up 4, and the home run woes continue for this Gateway team. That'll bring up Justin Felix, who has been really good tonight as well. And maybe that's why Joe Riley's the one warming up. It's no longer a save opportunity.
Oh.
Maybe they expected a run to score.
Well, again, looking at that crystal ball.
First pitch for Felix stays up high. Easy one to lay off for ball 1. So a 1-0 count towards Justin Felix. Half swings, didn't matter. It was a called strike 1, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike.
Well, if they get this Felix out, I'm going to depart for home because I don't drive in the dark, and it's getting dark. So if you would excuse me after this pitch.
The 1-1 to Felix.
Strike 2.
Nice. Off speed there. Glances into the inside edge.
I won't see you until what, next Tuesday?
Friday night.
Oh, Friday night. Oh, wait a minute. No, Thursday.
Thursday, that's right.
Thursday for breakfast.
I got you.
Okay.
Then Friday night for all of our fans to listen in for Lake Erie, Evansville. The 1-2. A half swing. They check on it anyway. No, he did not go. And the count's even at 2-2 with 2 outs and no one on. Man, good for Steven Sinsley. He needed something to get himself back on the right side of things, and a quality home run there and a base hit earlier in the game.
Right.
Hopefully gets him back on his horse and going. So here comes the 2-2 to Felix with 2 outs and no one on. He lifts one out towards right field. Bernard thinks he's underneath it. And indeed he is for out number 3. So after 8 complete innings, it's Otters 5, Gateway 1 after a 2-run home run from Steven Sinsley. 9th inning coming at you next here on the Otters Digital Network. One more look at Steven Sinsley's big fly there in the 8th inning. A big home run for this team to put them up by 4. And now they can start to see that sweep come closer and closer. Joe Riley is going to be the man up there on the mound. He's been really good this year. He's going to get a chance here. Not in a save situation, but he's got a couple runs to work with. The ones that Riley will face are going to be the 8-9-1 hitters of Hernandez, Diaz, and Penner in this half inning. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. And the pitcher-catcher battery is Joe Riley on the mound. Justin Felix behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Joe Riley's done a nice job this year as a lot of the time as the setup man. Didn't pitch last night, and because of that is going to get a chance in this one. First one he's going to see is Alex Hernandez, who's 1 for 3 with a single, ground outs, and a foul out. First offering just catches the inside edge for a called strike 1. It's actually Jay Prather pinch hitting in this opportunity. Prather's usually their center fielder, checking in as a pinch hitter in this chance. The 0-1 towards him. Swinging strike 2. He was fooled there on the off speed. And now Joe Riley has a chance to start off the 9th inning with a strikeout. Glance towards home. Here comes the 0-2. Good work by Prather to foul that one off to the left side and keep himself alive. Count remains 0-2 in a game that the Otters are winning 5-1 in the top of the 9th inning. Evansville with 2 games at Schaumburg this week. Then they're right back home to face Lake Erie. Mini-series at Schaumburg, just 2. The 0-2, and Prather evens this one up a little bit, but it still goes foul to that left side, and he remains at a 0-2 count. Quick look for what's up next for Gateway. 3 against Florence, 3 against Joliet. They start a 9-game homestand on Tuesday night. That's a homestand that the Grizzlies have got to be good in to get themselves a little bit closer in the standings. The 0-2 to Prather. This time, once again, evens it up, but it's still foul. So every foul ball has been a little bit closer to the foul line, still about 15 feet shy. Count remains at 0-2. Good battle brewing here between Prather and Riley. The infield's playing a bit shifted to the right side, but he's been found him to the left. And he lays off this pitch up high. Ball 1 on the fastball. Riley looks in for his sign. Has what he wants and takes a glance over towards third. Here comes the 1-2 to Prather. Fastball, letter high, fouled back into the netting. We've seen a lot of this whole series. Really good battles from especially these gateway hitters on the 2 strike counts, really staying defensive in there, making these Otter pitchers earn the outs however they get them. The 1-2 to Prather. Swinging strike 3, and Joe Riley has a hard-earned German American Bank strikeout to start off the 9th inning. Every relief pitcher so far for the Otters picking up a strikeout. I mean, this is an Otters pitching staff that last year not only led the Frontier League in strikeouts, but broke the strikeouts record in a single season. Over 800 of them. Breland Almadova makes his walk to the plate. He's also pinch hitting, this time for Abdil Diaz. Almadova's first pitch, hefty swinging strike 1, comes up empty-handed. Riley takes his time to get back up on the mound. I think I made the point a couple nights ago. Riley pitches at the very front of the rubber. Because of that, makes it very hard to pick up that pitch out of his hand. 0-1 to Almadova. This one outside, evens the count at a ball and a strike. The fastball just happened to miss over there. Infield is playing pretty much straight up, maybe a tiny bit slanted towards the left. Almadova hasn't played enough games to really make any sort of shift on him. The 1-1, swinging strike 2 on a pitch that broke towards the low outside corner. Man, Joe Riley pulled the string there. 88 mile an hour, and it still had that kind of movement on it. So Riley has his second straight man, 1 pitch away from another strikeout. The 1-2 works high and inside, and the count evens up at 2-2. Been a fun series, this Gateway and Evansville one. These two squads have been meeting each other all the way since back to 2001. The 2-2 is fouled off to the right side now, out of play. In fact, the game last Sunday was the 200th game in this series' history. This is game 203. The Otters lead the series 102-100. And it seems to be that every game these two teams play this year, other than that very first one this year, is going to be close and back and forth, fun games. The 2-2 just misses on the low outside corner, full count for Almadova. The next time that these two will play is July 4th weekend, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4-game set over July 4th weekend. Then they'll have to wait until the first weekend of August to face for the final time. The 3-2 to Almadova. Swinging strike 3. Back-to-back German-American Bank strikeouts for Joe Riley in the 9th inning. And down to their last out are the Gateway Grizzlies. With that, we head back to the top of the order, and the left fielder, Andrew Pinner. He's 0 for 4. 2 groundouts, a strikeout, and a flyout. He's the type of guy that seems to always be due for a hit late in games. Right now, it'd just be to break up the perfect inning. First pitch, strike 1 on the fastball. Riley brought the heat there. Defense playing straight up. Outfield a little bit slanted to their right side. 0-1 to Pinner. Swinging strike 2, got fooled again on the high pitch. And just like that, the count's at 0-2, and the Grizzlies are down to their last strike. Riley lines up at the front of that rubber. The crowd here at Bosse Field trying to get behind him. The 0-2, outside, ball 1, and they'll have to wait at least one more pitch. If nothing else, you've got to give credit to these fans at Bosse Field this weekend. They have showed up in numbers all weekend long. over 7,000 combined in these 3 days. 1-2 the count to Andrew Penner with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. On the way, lifted, foul to the right side, and yet again, a Gateway Grizzly is fighting in there to keep himself alive in the count. Seems like every time they get in a scenario like this. The 1-2 count to Andrew Penner with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning. Riley trying to close out this game. The 1-2 fouled back into the netting again. Credit where credit is due. Penner is making life hard for yet another pitcher in this game, fighting off on 2 strike counts. Long look in from Joe Riley. Has the sign and the 1-2. Swinging strike 3. And it's a back-to-back-to-back German-American Bank strikeouts to end this game. Great performance from Joe Riley to finish this one out. The Otters win the game 5-1, and they win the series with an impressive sweep over the Gateway Grizzlies. They've won 4 straight series to start off West Division play. This is a red-hot Evansville Otters team. Don't let the Otts get hot. We're right back with post-game coverage right after this. And for the final time this evening and the final time this homestand, welcome inside historic Bosse Field. Otters win this one 5-1 over the Gateway Grizzlies. Offense was spread out nicely. Pitching did its job and worked out of some jams. And the Otters out-hit Gateway 8-4 and an all-around win for them. It all started off in the early stages of this game where it was a tough situation for Austin Gossman in that second inning. Ended up having the bases loaded. Did a good job to work around it and not give up anything. It was 1 out and bases loaded. Managed to get a couple of strong outs and in things there. Then that's when the Otters started to take over with their bats. In the 3rd inning, they picked up their first run of the game on an RBI single from Miles Gordon, who brought in Justin Felix, who picked up a base hit for just the 2nd time in the last week and a half. Nice to see Justin Felix get back on the hitting side of things. Then, in the 5th inning, the Grizzlies tied it up with a RBI walk from Peter Zimmerman with the bases loaded. But yet again, the Otters did a good job to get themselves out of a bases loaded jam and work themselves into a scenario where the game was still tied. We went to the bottom of the 6th inning, and Evansville struck yet again, scoring 1 run on a wild pitch. That ended up being the game-winning run by J.R. Davis. Steven Sinsley added 1 more in that inning with an RBI single. That brought home another runner. Then, after a couple innings of work, Steven Sinsley had himself 1 more opportunity in the game after Davis reached on a fielder's choice. A 2-run home run from Steven Sinsley gave the Otters their 5-1 advantage that would carry on to the end. Though Austin Gossman pitched very well, he did not get a result in this one. Samson Abernathy gets the win in relief. The loss goes to Carson Cooper of the Grizzlies, who had been really good this year, but he falls to 0-2. Abernathy advances to 2-1. Joe Riley does an excellent job finishing this game out in the 9th inning. It's not a save scenario because the team was up by 4, but got to give credit where credit's due. 3 straight strikeouts to end the game for him, exactly what this Otters team needed. they sweep Gateway for the first time since June of 2021. In fact, it's almost a year to the date. Next week, it would be a year ago, and the woes for Gateway here at this ballpark continue. Since 2016, Gateway is just 5-25 against the Otters here at Bosse Field. There's something about this place that the Grizzlies don't like, but the Otters do. A 5-1 win gives them another quality win. Not only does it do that, it puts them at 17-10 overall in play thus far. With that, they take another tie in the West Division as Washington comes from behind and scores 3 in the bottom of the ninth to win the game over Schaumburg. And impossibly, Washington and Evansville remain tied at the top of the table here in the West Division. Man, you just can't count them out. Also, in the 10th inning, Tri-City has defeated Quebec 7-6. So another loss for the hottest team in the whole league, Quebec. They fall to 21-5 over there in the East Division. Not much to worry about, though, as they still lead the division by quite a healthy number. Otters will return to play on Tuesday night as they hit the road to go face Schaumburg for a 2-game mini-series. If you missed that information earlier, the reason it's a 2-game mini-series is because the Otters and Grizzlies will play a 4-game set over the 4th of July. In order to make room for one additional game, they had to cut one out of a different series. This is the series that it was resulted in, so only 2 games at Schaumburg for the Otters. But have no fear, they'll be right back in town Friday night to face the Lake Erie Crushers for a 3-game set before hitting the road once more. Well, we're glad you joined us all week long. Had a ton of fun in the games against Windy City and these games against Gateway. Otters put in some great effort, win 5 of 6 here on the homestand, and are tied for first as they hit the road. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I want to thank you again for tuning in to Otters Baseball, both here on the Otters Digital Network and on Flow Sports. We're always pleased to have you here. For my good friend Bill McEwen, who has been sitting next to me these last couple nights, I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for tuning in to Otters Baseball here on Flow Sports and the Otters Digital Network. I'll talk to you here on ODN on Tuesday nights as the Evansville Otters head to Schaumburg to take on the Boomers.